Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for Below Grade Level. Put that 17 magazine away and listen to this.
Welcome to Below Grade Level, the show where we take the books that we read as kids and read them as adults and ruin them. I'm one of your hosts, Jonathan Eaton, and with me as always is Bekah Eaton.
Hello.
And Chris Zaleski.
Hello.
How are the two of you doing tonight?
Dumb question.
Yep. Cool.
I'm fine.
Good. Great. It's just the three of us again. We had a last-minute cancellation for the guest that we were supposed to have tonight, and instead of putting it off, we are just having a fun little party with the three of us, and we're gonna blow through the rest of this book. And we're running a little behind, so it actually is probably better that it's just the three of us, so we won't get so distracted.
You say that now.
Yeah, but like if we
I
had
don't trust us that
if
much.
we had on who we were gonna have on, we would get very distracted.
It's true. I do like them.
So hopefully they'll be on the next episode or another one soon, and we'll find out what we're gonna read after we finish finding out the truth about Stacey, if we do.
I don't have high hopes.
No, I don't either. It's been a little break since the last time we read it, and I honestly, none of us really remember what happened last time, other than that they hired two new babysitters. There's a rival Babysitters Club, the Babysitters Agency, and it's run by very slightly older kids, and the Babysitters Club is threatened. What I remember from last time is Christy taking it way too fucking seriously. Like, remember she made them wear sandwich boards?
Oh, God. Yeah. I forgot about that. That's humiliating. And, well, I can't remember if it was the last chapter or the one before, but she called them to book a fake babysitting gig. And was just trying to find out more information.
Do babysitting reconnaissance.
Sorry.
So we're just gonna jump right into it. Chapter 10. This is a diary. Told by Claudia, I think. Yes.
When did they start doing the diaries in their handwriting? Because that happens at some point. They all have different handwriting.
Oh yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. I wonder if it's not because it's Kindle.
But
because we're reading this on Kindle, I wonder if they're. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know.
It's fine. You can move on.
Chapter 10. Monday, December 8th. Today, Christy, Stacey, and Marianne all arrived early for our Babysitters Club meeting. We were all really excited to find out how
Type up.
Janet... Where?
A child wrote it.
Reali.
Maybe it was just Claudia being stupid.
I'm not smart like my sister, Janine, that bitch.
Janet. Oh.
Janet.
No, Janine.
Janine. It says you said Janet because it says Janet.
Yes, I did. I'm going to stop talking now.
We were all really
Bekah's the distraction
excited
this episode.
to find out how Janet and Leslie's sitting. Is it written bad on purpose for real? Sitting is spelled wrong. There's only one.
Probably.
team.
I'm telling you, they write in their own personalities in the books, and you can see stuff crossed out, stuff spelled wrong. Their handwriting, obviously Marianne's is neat.
Yeah.
Claudia's is kind of messy.
Yeah. They fucking nail it. There should be little doodles everywhere. When it was sitting, jobs had gone on Saturday. When it was 5:30, we kept expecting the doorbell to ring any second, but it didn't. Soon it was 5:50. Where were they? Christy was getting worried. Write this down in our notebook, somebody, she said.
I feel like you're getting slower and slower as you keep reading.
Something.
We're going to blow through this. We're still on the first page.
Something. If you'd stop interrupting me. Something's wrong. Unfortunately, Christy was right.
Oh my God.
It turned out that something was very, very wrong.
Really phlegmy, and I don't know why, and I'm sorry.
Cool. Cough right into the mic.
No, I have too much respect for the microphone.
Give the listener what they want.
And it was part of the awful thing with the Babysitters Agency. End of diary. Wow. What happened on Monday was one of the worst events in the war between the Babysitters Club and the Babysitters Agency. As Claudia mentioned, the 4 original club members gathered early for our Monday meeting. We couldn't wait to talk to Janet and Leslie. Despite the fact that Claudia's digital clock flipped to 8:35 and the new members hadn't shown up yet, the first meeting got off to a good start. First, Mrs. Marshall called, needing a sitter for Wednesday afternoon. Marianne took the job. Then Watson. Oh, I forgot about Watson.
Oh, Watson. I hope he's doing well.
Christy's future stepfather needed a sitter for an early evening job on Wednesday. Christy took that one, of course. Then Mrs. Newton called. She wanted someone to watch Jamie on Wednesday afternoon while she took Lucy to the pediatrician for a checkup. I took that job since Claudia has art lessons on Wednesdays. We should just read 2 pages.
She's sucking. Oh, right.
Chris, just read these 2.
Okay.
Just read these 2 pages, Chris. That's
We
what
were
did
so
last time.
busy taking calls that it was 5:50 before we looked at the clock again and realized Janet and Leslie were late. They could have at least called to say they weren't going to make the meeting this afternoon, I pointed out. Even Christy looked miffed. Nothing unusual there. I saw Janet in school today and she didn't even say anything about not coming. I think it's weird that neither of them showed up, said Marianne. What could have happened to make them both late? Christy shrugged.
Murder.
Maybe they just forgot. We've told them about meetings 1,000,000 times, said Claudia. If they forgot then they're pretty irresponsible. Well, I'll call them, said Christy. She knew something was wrong then because that was when she told Claudia to write about the incident in our notebook. Oh, call back to that first page.
Oh, it's like when that thing happened.
No, I'll call them, I said. I want to know who they think they are.
Oh, my God.
Don't get mad, said Pot, calling the kettle black. It won't help. I'll call. I'm the president. No, I want to cut. The phone rang again. Christy and I both lunged for it, decking each other in the eye, but Mary Ann was sitting practically on top of it. She beat us to it. Hello, the Babysitters Club, she said. No, this is Mary Ann Spear. Can I help you? Oh, hi, Mr. Kelly. She didn't? Christy and Claudia and I jerked to attention. The Kellys were the new family Leslie had arranged to sit for on Saturday night. They had contacted the club after we'd sent around our updated flyers. So not moles, but saboteurs.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Kelly, Marianne was saying, I'm terribly sorry. I don't know what happened. Well, I'd like to, but she's not here right now. I guess you could call her at home. Oh, I see. Well, would you like to speak to our president? Okay, sure. And I'm really sorry.
Mr. President.
So many S words in that sentence.
Marianne's face was flaming like Cheetos. She cupped her hand over the mouthpiece and she passed the receiver to Christy. She whispered,
Leslie never showed up on Saturday. She didn't even bother to call the Kellys.
Christy took the phone, her eyes closed, steeling herself for the conversation with Mr. Kelly. Christy Thomas, president of the Babysitters Club here, she said after a moment. Club president? Of the Babysitters Club? Yes. Marianne just mentioned that. Mm-hmm. I not even doing the voice.
I feel terrible. Leslie never told me she wasn't going to be able to keep her appointment with you. If she had, I would have sent over one of our other fine-ass sitters. I hope you can accept our apologies. Sure. Okay, goodbye.
Christy hung up the phone. I couldn't tell whether she was angry or scared or embarrassed or scared-barrassed or...
Did you ad-lib that?
Scare-barrassed.
Yes. Maybe she was all 3, or just those last 2. She kept still for so long that at last I said,
He was really mad, right? Yep. He and his wife had tickets to see his wife's brother perform in a concert in Stanford. When Leslie didn't show up, he called her house, but no one was home. The Kellys had to scramble around, trying to get someone to watch their kids. At last, they left them with a neighbor, but by the time they'd reached the concert hall, they'd missed 20 minutes of the concert. He told me that whole story on the phone just now.
Jesus Christ. He's a fast talker.
I know.
Uh-oh. Spaghetti-o, said Claudia.
Why didn't they just call one of us?
I'm on top of my shit tonight.
Why
I
didn't they
was
just
surprised I remembered all the voices.
Call one of us, I asked.
Simple!
Snapped Christy.
They didn't trust us, and why should they? Mr. Kelly was only calling to make sure we knew what Leslie had done. I have a feeling that Kelly won't be calling the Babysitters Club again. Kelly's.
Oh, great, I said, letting out a breath I hadn't even realized I'd been holding. Boo! Wait till word gets around about this. The phone rang again. Nobody made a move to answer it. Finally, I picked it up on the third ring. Hello, the Babysitters Club, I said glumly. Stacey McGill speaking. Yes? Oh no, you're kidding! I wonder what it is.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We had no idea. Maybe you'd like to talk to our president. Okay, hold on. Get ready for management life, Christy. That's all it fucking is. I handed Christy the phone, whispering, I don't believe it. This is Mrs. Jadell. You know, the other new client.
Yeah, no, we're already there.
The woman Janet was supposed to sit for. Janet didn't show up either. It was Christy's turn to be furious. She jerked the phone to her ear, eyes flashing, and had to unclench her jaw before saying, fairly civilly, Christian Thomas speaking. I had seen Christy mad before, obviously. She's angry 90% of the time.
Constantly.
But never that mad. She carried on pretty much the same conversation with Ms. Jadell that she'd had with Mr. Kelly a few minutes earlier. The only difference was that Ms. Jadell and her husband hadn't been able to find another sitter and had missed out on a cocktail party.
Well, you shouldn't have had a kid.
Swingers.
What did they have, a pineapple in their window? Remember, we established that
Call
detail.
back.
Anyway.
And we had the bowl for the keys.
When Christy hung up the phone, she burst into tears. It was the first time I'd ever seen her cry. Well, that does it, I said, handing her a tissue from the table by Claudia's bed. What are Janet's and Leslie's phone numbers? I'm going to call them right now. They're really hurting us. No, said Christy, wiping her eyes. Don't call them. I want to confront them face to face. Because of course I do. We'll talk to them in school tomorrow. This wasn't any accident. They missed those jobs on purpose. I'm sure of it. But why? Asked Claudia. Beats me, said Christy. Really? Who's going to help me face those traitors tomorrow? I am, I said. I am, said Claudia. We looked at Marianne. Couldn't we confront them over the phone? She asked.
Typical Marianne.
The phone is not a confrontation, I said firmly. We have to be face to face. We do. Yes, we do.
All of us.
We gotta beat
Christy.
their asses. Sorry.
The whole club. United. All right, said Marianne at last. None of us was looking forward to school the next day. We walked together in the morning, traveling about as fast as snails, historically slow creatures. When are we going to confront them? I asked Christy as we reached Stony Brook Middle School. Yeah, said Claudia. We don't have any classes with them. We're going to confront them right now, Christy replied. I know where their homerooms are. We're going to wait for them. An ambush, said Marianne. Janet and Leslie were not in the same homeroom, but the rooms were just across the hall from each other. Christy and Marianne waited by Janet's room. Claudia and I waited by Leslie's, each of us
Brass knuckles.
with cups of acid in our hands. And a Molotov in the other. After about 5 minutes of standing around, I spotted them down the hall. Psst, Christy, I said. Here they come, both of them. Dogs outside are barking, so in case you hear that. Hey, Claudia whispered to me. Look who's with them. I looked. It was Liz fucking Lewis. I thought they didn't like Liz. I know. Claudia frowned audibly. We watched the girls stop for a moment, talking earnestly. Then Liz waved to them and disappeared into a classroom. Janet and Leslie saw us before they reached their homerooms. They nudged each other, laughing. The members of the Babysitters Club converged on them, chains a-rattling. Where were you yesterday?
Picturing
Christy
that
demanded.
scene from Anchorman.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, What kind of greeting is that? Asked Janet.
What?
She must have had 12 pieces of gum in her mouth.
Oh, right.
I'm not kidding, said Christy. I want to know where you were, and I want to know why you didn't show up for your Saturday sitting jobs.
Our club is known for responsible babysitters.
So what? Said Leslie.
So what?
Exclaimed Christy.
You're giving us a bad reputation, you whore. We're going to have to ask you to leave the club.
Oh, Christy.
So confrontational.
Fine with us, replied Janet. We, she added with a smirk, are members of the Babysitters Agency, bitch. She and Leslie burst into hysterical laughter.
But,
Stammered Christy. We had you completely fooled.
you're rats.
I cried suddenly. Both of you. You did this to make us look bad. It's dirty. It's not fair. Janet and Leslie couldn't stop laughing. I couldn't stop accusing. You're liars and dirty business women. Dirty business women.
They're business children. They're business babies.
Well, wait,
Business
Janet
babies.
and Leslie are older.
Not by that much.
Yeah, they're like 15, 13.
Yeah.
Whoa, said Leslie. Get that dirty business women. Pretty high class talk.
And probably,
That sounds sexy.
Yeah,
and probably rotten babysitters.
Christy added. Leslie took some offense at that. We are not rotten babysitters, she said, bristling.
Well, what do you call a babysitter who doesn't show up for a job and doesn't call the parents to explain why?
Said Leslie. Said Leslie. Janet, what would you call that sitter? I'd call her anything except late for dinner. Leslie and Janet doubled over
Chris,
with
Do not dignify that with a laugh.
They doubled over just like Chris at that stupid joke.
You couldn't tell
I
that
had
was
it-
fake?
I added 2 stupids. One was in there.
It felt real.
Shut
good
up!
actor.
Shut up!
Cried Christy.
Ugh, I hope you realize you're in big trouble.
That one was real.
That's a real laugh. Big trouble. Oh, that's entering our vernacular, like right now. That is, oh man. Be
With
ready for that
who?
next time we play video games.
With who? Said Janet, still laughing.
With the parents. I'm gonna call them and tell them exactly what happened, and then they'll call their friends, and their friends will call their friends, and they'll call 2 friends, and they'll call
my
2
God.
friends. Word will get around. You'll be sorry.
At last the girls stopped laughing. You wouldn't dare, said Janet, at the same time that Leslie said, No, you'll be sorry, tattletale bitch.
Me? Why should I be sorry? Asked Christy. Because, replied Leslie, Liz and Michelle will be interested in your plans. They'll just have to work a little harder to be the best sitting agency in town, but they won't mind that. You, exclaimed Christy, simmering, you are pigs. Janet snapped her gum. Sorry, kids. She and Leslie separated and walked into their classrooms. Christy, Claudia, Marianne, and I were left standing in the hall. For the second time in 2 days, Christy began to cry. The rest of us surrounded her and walked her to the nearest girls' room. It was pretty crowded, but we huddled in a corner and no one paid much attention to us.
Are you sure?
It's a public
That
school.
seems-
It's a public school.
Okay.
It's got to be.
I didn't go to public school, but
That could happen.
okay.
I'm so embarrassed, Christy wailed. It isn't fair. That was a really rotten trick. Besides, a babysitting club was my idea, not Liz's. We worked so hard on our club. And even when the agency started up, we never tried to hurt them. We just tried to protect what we had. She blew her nose on a paper towel. Now they're purposefully trying to beat us out. So Liz put Janet and Leslie up to what they did, I said slowly, only just now realizing what just happened.
Oh, Stacey.
Very clearly
You
in that
diabetic
conversation.
idiot.
Christy nodded. Yes, and it's all my fault for being so stupid about taking on new members. Marianne was right. I should have checked on them. Well, said Claudia, I agree with what the agency is doing, or I agree that what the agency is doing to us is really mean. But I think what we have to do is just keep going, the four of us. Okay, so we can't stay out late. So we're only 12 years old. Most of our clients like us a lot. 12?
I snorted.
Good job, idiot. Just go on being as responsible and good with children and what's that word that means you sort of adjust yourself to whatever people need? Flexible, suggested Marianne. Almost, Claudia replied. That's not the word, but it's close.
Adaptable?
What?
I know what you
say
mean.
what the word is. Do you want me to
Well,
finish
I mean, you can't
Chris can
educate
do the
kids
next
too
two
much.
pages.
Huh?
Chris will do that in the next one.
Oh, okay.
I know what you mean, said Christy. I guess you're right. Anyway, I am going to explain things to Mr. Kelly and Miss Jadell. And, I added frantically, there's always lower rates and housework and special deals. No, said Christy.
Your children!
Right.
I've decided that's not the way to go. The club will survive, but we don't want to become slaves. Besides, I can't deal with any of that stuff right now. We've got to think of ways to prove that we're better than the agency. With that, the bell rang, and the Babysitters Club silently left the girls' room. Chapter 11. Bankruptcy.
God damn it.
Forever and ever. I will do it
I'm
forever and
happy
ever and ever and ever.
disappointed. I'm mostly happy.
You're
The
mostly
agency...
Mostly happy.
The agency had lit a fire under Christy. It was all she had, after all. She did call the Kellys and the Jadells to explain what had happened. They were interested and seemed somewhat friendlier, but Christy still wasn't sure whether they'd call on the club again. At least the truth had been told. Then Christy made plans for us to advertise our club out at Washington Mall. She was already at work on new sandwich boards.
Oh my God,
Each
Christy.
one would carry a different slogan. We helped Christy make them up. They were, younger is better.
Oh no!
Responsibility plus punctuality equals the Babysitters Club. The first and finest babysitting service. And finally, quality care for kids.
Wait,
Some
I want
good
to amend that
alliteration.
one. Quality care for kids by kids.
Yeah.
The first trip to the mall was scheduled for the
Younger is
weekend.
better. Oh, so many guys are gonna call me like, "Is this the Babysitters Club?"
Stay away from vans.
Ooh, we're getting to some good shit. The first trip to the mall was scheduled for the weekend, but I wouldn't be able to go. I'd be suffering torture at the hands of Dr. Barnes. On Wednesday afternoon, I babysat for Jamie. Something was bothering him. He moped around as if he'd lost his best friend. He had greeted me cheerfully enough when I'd arrived, but as soon as Mrs. Newton carried a bundled-up Lucy out the back door, his face fell. He wandered into the rec room, flipped on the TV, and flung himself onto the couch with a whumph.
Usually what I do after work.
He didn't even check to see what was on the channel the television was tuned to. Usually, he wouldn't watch anything except Sesame Street or Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, like a normal kid that watched PBS, Jonathan.
That's fine. I was watching Predator. I thought I knew what was wrong. It must be kind of tough having a new baby at your house, I suggested. Jamie shrugged. It's okay. I bet she cries a lot. Not too much. If Mommy rocks her, she stops. I thought for a moment. I remember when my friend Allison's babysitter was born. Allison hated her. Jamie looked surprised. I don't hate Lucy, he said. Everything is A-okay with the baby? No croup?
Hold
Jamie
on,
nodded.
do the everything is A-okay line again.
Everything is A-okay with the baby?
Thank you.
All right. All right. Jamie nodded. Uh-huh. You seem kind of sad, I said after a while. Jamie let out a sigh that indicated he was carrying the weight of the entire world on his shoulders.
I don't remember feeling that fucking dramatic as a child.
Not as a
I
child.
d- I
Like
do.
pretty dramatic, but like the weight of the world.
The weight of the world, yeah. I don't know. When I got in trouble for selling creepy crawlers at school, that was pretty bad. That was the worst thing that ever happened to me.
I was a good kid,
ever.
so I don't know what
Good
that
kid.
would be like.
Yeah, she wasn't a bug dealer.
A bug. Well, Yeah,
You were a bug dealer.
I was a bug dealer. I can't argue with that.
Oh, I'm so happy I came up with
What
that.
you want? You want centipedes? You want big spiders? I got those. You want ants?
You want red that
Why
bleeds
do you
into
sound like
green?
Beetlejuice?
You want? How about this? It's a big spider, and it's mixed colors. It's like a swirly kaleidoscope spider.
It's just gray.
That was 10 cents. Shut up, Mrs. Spears is here.
You seem kind of sad, I said after a while. Jamie let out a sigh that indicated he was carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. Babysitters used to be fun, he said. Damn. I frowned. What do you mean? Babysitters used to play games with me and push me on the swings and color monster pictures and read me stories. I couldn't get away from
Sounds like a good time.
I couldn't get away from the Lucy angle. And now
Hold on. If I ever make another dating profile, it's like, you need to play games with me, push me on the swings, and color monster pictures and read me stories.
Quote, the Babysitters Club. I couldn't get away from the Lucy angle. And now they're too busy taking care of the baby? No, too busy watching TV. What are you going to watch this afternoon? Me? I'm not going to watch TV. I was going to ask you if you wanted to read Where the Wild Things Are and draw pictures of Max's monsters. Jamie perked up. Plus, I brought the kit with me. You did? I didn't see. Where is it? Gimme. It's in the living room. But wait a second, Jamie. Tell me more about your babysitters. Are you saying that all they do is watch TV? And they... He leaned over and began to whisper. They have accidents.
What?
They just piss everywhere.
Accidents?
All over the couch.
I whispered back.
Yes. Horrible accidents.
What the fuck? What kind of accident?
They might be listening right now.
He got up and led me across the room to a chair. Like this.
Oh, shit.
He whispered. He poked at something on the cushion. I looked at it closely. It was a burn mark. In fact, it was a hole. My eyes widened.
Were they smoking cigarettes?
One of your sitters did that? I asked. Jamie nodded. With a cigarette.
Oh, no.
He said cigarette as if it were a dirty word. Neither of his parents is a smoker.
And they couldn't tell that someone had smoked a cigarette in their house?
Right.
If I walked into this house and someone smoked a cigarette, I'd be like, what the fuck?
And put it out on a couch cushion and burned it.
I'd
Yeah.
walk around crazily sniffing everything.
Like a dog.
Like a mad dog.
Gosh, I said. Anything else? Sometimes they talk on the phone. They talk longer than Mommy and Daddy do. Stacey? Yeah. What's a boyfriend? I gulped. I hadn't been prepared for that question. What's a boyfriend? Well, I said thoughtfully, it's a friend who's a boy. Am I your boyfriend? Asked Jamie. Not exactly. Listen, Jamie, who babysits for you now? Do you know their names? Jamie scrunched up his face. Tammy, he said, and Barbara, and a boy. I didn't know Tammy and Barbara or any boy sitters. Maybe they were in high school. Well, you know what? I said. If you don't like your sitters, you should tell your mommy. Tell her what you told me, that all they do is watch TV and talk on the phone, and show her the chair, okay? Can you do that? I wanted to help the Babysitters Club, but I also truly hated to see Jamie so sad. Yup. Good boy. Now, you don't really want to watch the news, do you? I said, looking at the blaring television set. Yuck. Jamie jumped up and switched it off. What'll it be? I asked.
But the Dow is down.
Wild Things or the Kid. It's not David Michael, okay? That would be David Michael's jam. This is Jamie. Jamie's a fun kid.
David Michael turns the TV on. He's like, I have to check my portfolio.
Kid.
You got it. I retrieved the kid kit and pulled out the things that would interest an almost 4-year-old. Jamie played happily until Mrs. Newton and Lucy returned. When I got home that afternoon, I heard the phone ringing. Apparently, Mother was out. I dashed into the kitchen and picked up the receiver. Hello?
Hello, Stacey?
Yes.
Oh, hi, hon. It's Dr. Johansson. I was about to hang up.
Sorry, I said. I just got home.
Well, listen, I know your Babysitters Club meets in a little while, but I thought I'd try to catch you now. I need a sitter tonight. It's last minute, but it won't be too late, and Charlotte's been asking for you.
She has, I said, feeling very pleased.
Endlessly.
Said Dr. Johansson cheerfully.
Can you come over at 7?
Sure, I replied. Ordinarily, I'm not allowed to sit both the afternoon and the evening of a school day, but I didn't have much homework, so I knew it would be all right.
Terrific. We'll see you then,
said Dr. Johansson. Bye. We hung up. I was pleased for 2 reasons. Not only was I delighted...
What are you, Michael Winslow?
Yes.
What?
Not only was I delighted to have a night job at the Johanssons, I hadn't had one in quite a while, but I was working on a plan regarding the New York trip, and I needed to discuss something with Dr. Johansson. I also needed her to answer some questions. My plan was this. I'd let Mom and Dad take me to their doctor on Saturday. I knew what that visit would be like. A lot of questions, especially about my diet and insulin and my medical history, and then maybe a few quick tests, followed by plans for the workup in his clinic on Monday and Tuesday. Just preliminary stuff. I'd been through it all before. Then I...
Are you a doctor, Stacey?
Would tell my parents I'd been researching diabetes on my own and that I knew of a doctor I wanted to see.
Yeah, your parents are definitely going to respect that decision.
Topical. She's going to say, I did my own research, Mom and Dad.
Shit.
But this is pre-internet, so that's kind of impressive.
That actually, yeah. I use the Dewey Decimal System. That was when
I went to the library.
That was when Dr. Johansson came in. I needed her to recommend someone sensible to me. Someone who would think that we were handling my disease just fine. Someone like Dr. Werner. Furthermore, that someone needed a fancy office and lots of diplomas, and preferably to be European, Scandinavian, like these other 2 guys. After supper that night, I got the kid kit and a flashlight. I took the shortcut through our neighbors' backyards to the Johanssons. Dr. Johansson met me at the front door. Oh, hi, Stacey, she said. Oh, I'm glad you could come. She closed the door behind me and took my coat. Then she glanced over her shoulder at Chocolate, who was doing her homework at the kitchen table. Dr. Johansson lowered her voice. Chocolate has been in a funny mood lately, she told me. Very quiet and slightly listless. She says she feels fine, so something is going on that she's not talking about. I don't know where I'm from. I have a feeling it's school-related, and I've arranged a conference with her teacher. I just wanted you to know so that you won't worry if she seems out of sorts tonight. Okay, I replied.
The actual Scandinavian person doing a terrible job.
Mr. Johansson is working late tonight. Chocolate's mother continued. I feel like I'm going Transylvanian. and I have a PTA meeting. We'll both.
What do they actually do at PTA meetings? I have
idea.
actual no idea.
I hope I never find out.
Not in Transylvania. I mean, just like in Maryland.
Talk about them damn kids and what books to ban. Probably
pencils. They probably talk about pencils.
How much Jesus are we gonna let in school? All of him? Cool. Good. All right, Dr. Johansson. When you come home, could I talk to you? We're leaving for New York on Saturday, and I have an idea. Certainly, Han. There's something I wanted to tell you anyway. Dr. Johansson headed into the kitchen. Well, sweetie, she said to Chocolate, I won't be late. Finish your homework, and then you can have fun with Stacey until Daddy and I get home, okay? Chocolate nodded. Bye, honey. Bye. Charlotte barely looked up.
Christ.
I don't know where I just went.
Did your Norse grandma have an accent or anything?
Yeah, it kind of sounded like that.
Did it?
Yeah, kind of. From what I remember. I don't know. It's been like 25 years.
Would you like some fermented fish?
No, it was like, here's some licorice. And it tasted like you were gonna die.
Oh, like black licorice?
Like the blackest licorice.
What? Oh, I don't know. Break just a beer of some kind. I don't care.
I'm trying to mime a draft beer to Bekah.
Did you guys get your keg?
You stuck your tongue out, but I think that was at the licorice.
It was.
Okay.
It was about the licorice. I hadn't seen the miming at that stage.
I'm just over here just...
Oh my god. Yes. Fine.
Okay.
Just because your dad lives in France doesn't mean you're good at miming.
He didn't even hear that insult.
I didn't hear whatever it was, but I don't appreciate it.
He felt it.
We're still laughing at you.
Did you guys get a new keg?
No, we've had the same one for so long. I'm so sick of it.
Now I feel bad for not drinking any of it last time I was there.
I keep forgetting it's down there. It's fine. I sat down next to her as her mother left the house. Gosh, homework in 2nd grade. That's pretty important. I didn't have homework in 2nd grade. It's just 2 dumb worksheets, said Chocolate.
Did.
I know, right? But how do you not have homework in 2nd grade?
I had a mean teacher in 2nd grade, too.
Aw.
Mrs. Johnson. You hear that, Mrs. Johnson? If you're listening to this, you can go fuck yourself. Forcing me to learn cursive, and I never used it again.
Do you need help with them? She shook her head. They're easy. It's dumb homework. Well, if it's easy, it won't take you long to finish, right? What do you care? Chocolate, I exclaimed. Why are you talking to me like that? If you're mad, you better tell me what I did wrong because I'm not a mind reader. Chocolate slouched over her worksheets. I'm not mad. Well, you sound mad. I felt as if I were having a fight with Lane Cummings. Who was that? One of the boys she likes? I don't remember.
No fucking clue.
I only wanted
It sounds like something we should know, but we've read a lot of these.
Oh. Did it kick?
It kicked, finally.
Finally goddamn.
Kicked.
I only wanted to know because when you finish, we can read some of The Cricket in Times Square. Oh, sure, she said sarcastically. Chocolate, what is the matter with you? Your mother said you wanted me to sit for you. I wanted you to come over. I didn't want you to babysit. I don't think I understand. Stacey, how come you babysit for me? Because I like to, I replied. You're one of my favorite kids. Chocolate smiled vaguely. Then she asked, why do you really sit? This kid is fucking intense.
The fuck?
Because I like kids, and when I moved here, I wanted to meet people. What about the money? Money? What had made Chocolate think about that? Well, of course the money's nice. I like to earn money. I am a 12-year-old businesswoman, after all.
We live in a capitalist society, Chocolate.
I'm in a club.
But I like you too. I wouldn't babysit for just anybody. And I'll tell you something. If your mom and dad called me and said, we need you to sit for Charlotte tonight, but we're broke and we can't pay you, I'd come anyway.
That seems like a lie, though.
Stacey's pretty nice. I think she'd do it.
That'd get them over the agency like they're just free.
Chris, it's your turn. Stop looking down.
Stop looking at your dick.
I was just going to say that.
I was cleaning my nails. And said... blah, 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 I come anyway. You would? Yes, I told you I'd like you. Some babysitters only sit because they want money. They don't care about the kids. Which babysitters? I asked.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Mumbled Chocolate. What? My new ones. She said quietly. Who are your new ones? Michelle Patterson, Leslie Somebody, and Kathy Morris. Whoa, Chocolate, that is a very hefty burp. Have you been drinking beer? They all told you that? No. Ellie Morris told me. Who's Ellie Morris? Kathy's sister. She's in my class. She hates me. Aha, I thought. Chocolate looked at me sadly. Ellie said, oh, Chocolate, you are the teacher's pet. And I said, I am not. And she said, R2, and you don't have any friends. And I said, I have babysitters. They're my friends.
I don't have friends. I have family.
Chris,
And she
you
said,
fucked it up.
and she said, they are not. My sister Kathy doesn't like you. And I said, then how come she sits for me? And she said, because your parents pay her a lot of money, stupid.
It'd be a lot of money.
I was beginning to put the pieces together.
You were?
Hold on. I'm reading that again. I was
Stacey.
beginning to put the pieces together. Charlotte didn't have friends her own age. That much I knew. Apparently, she thought her babysitters were her friends, though. Then Ellie had burst her bubble. Yet Charlotte had been asking for me. If I had come over just to visit, not to babysit, it would have proved I truly was a friend. No wonder she was upset.
Wow, that really
Hey,
lends
Chalk.
itself to that voice.
Hey, Chalk, I
Is
said.
this actually a detective novel?
Yeah. That's the truth about Stacey. She's a detective.
Secretly a detective.
Hard-boiled detective.
Hey, guys, I lied. I've been a detective this whole time.
Hey guys, I'm actually a 42-year-old man with a
I
drinking problem.
have the detectives
In a trench
agency.
coat.
Trench coat.
I use what's-her-face's phone. Hey, Chalk, I said. Remember when we gave Jamie Newton the Big Brother party? I invited you. I wasn't babysitting for you then. Yeah, said Chocolate slowly.
Almost too slowly. Also, what do Michelle and Leslie and Kathy do when they babysit for you? Watch TV, talk on the phone. Once Leslie brought her boyfriend over and they did things.
Gross.
I raised my eyebrows. Kathy always does her homework, but she won't help me with mine. She says, I'm busy now. Fuck you. What do I do when I babysit? Well, you bring the kid kit. We read stories and take walks and play games. That's being a friend, isn't it? I asked. Suddenly, Chocolate gave me a fierce hug. Yes, she said. I'm sorry I was mad.
Why are you reading her like a robot?
Guess what Chris is doing?
Well, it's because she was crestfallen.
Well, now she's a robot. That's all right. I made a mental note to help
Not
Chocolate.
everyone's a robot, John.
I made a mental note to help Chocolate make some friends. Ooh, you're biting off more chocolate than you can chew, Stacey. And you shouldn't because you're diabetic.
Oh,
Mic drop!
Oh, no! No, don't even need to read the rest of the book. We can just end it there.
Thanks
That's
for
the
listening,
truth about
everyone.
Stacey.
And that's the truth about Stacey.
Ba, 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 ba.
I even made a mental note to help Chocolate make some friends. Some 7-year-old friends in the neighborhood. One of the Pikes was 7, I thought. Then I told her what I had told Jamie that afternoon. If she didn't like her new sitters, she should talk to her parents. In particular, she should mention that Leslie had invited her boyfriend over and that they did stuff.
she's encouraging a bunch of tattletales.
She is.
A bunch of snitches.
Yeah, well, fuck those kids.
If the snitches pay her bills, her diabetic bills.
By the time Dr. Johansson returned, Chocolate seemed like her old self, and Chocolate's mother was very helpful. It's funny. Oh, God, back to this. She said when I asked her about a doctor, you know what I was going to tell you? I was going to tell you about this very sensible doctor in New York. I guess we were thinking along the same lines. I asked about the doctor's office and whether he had a lot of diplomas. The more the better. How many does he have? 20? 30? He seemed to fit the bill. He had 56 diplomas plastered all over his walls. Do you think I could get an appointment with him on Saturday afternoon? I asked. That's just 3 days away. I'll pull a few strings, said Dr. Johansson, and I'd better explain things to your parents. Oh, no, please don't, I cried.
I want to ambush them.
It has to be a surprise. Otherwise, it'll never work. Well, how about if I write you a note to your parents? You can give it to them over the weekend before you see the doctor. All right, I said at last. That wasn't quite what I had planned on, but I was stupid, willing to compromise.
Just finish.
I didn't want Dr. Johansson to get in any trouble. That's great, I said, and thanked her. I ran home feeling excited. My plan was underway.
Is the plan just to go to a different doctor? Because
Yes.
that's not all that exciting.
Well, she's 12.
Well, because I think early in the book that they established that she completely understands her condition, and she knows that she's doing the right thing currently.
And her parents
and
are
that it
trying
doesn't
to
just
cure her.
disappear.
Well, yeah.
And her parents are whacks that are trying
I
to.
do agree that her parents are sending her to a dumbass doctor.
I hope
It's
they
just
wave
for this-
crystals over her. Or
I
For
hope
something.
this
that
to be the
yeah.
exciting subterfuge.
Yeah. I bet that doctor's going to be like, just put some nutmeg on your diabetes.
Chapter 12. Thursday, December 11th. We just missed John's birthday. Surprise!
Ah, damn it!
Today, Stacey called an emergency club meeting for lunchtime.
I would have been 4 or whenever this book came out.
That was unexpected for 2 reasons. Sorry, I don't feel good. First of all, Christy had said no more club business in school. Second, Christy calls emergency meetings at the drop of a hat, but no other member has ever called one. Oh, yeah, I don't know who's writing this, because we don't see their fucking handwriting. It's horrible. Ugh. Stacey called one, though, and it was a good thing she did, because what she told us
Marianne.
got the club ready for the final battle in the war against the Babysitters Agency. Signed, Marianne, apparently. I read what Marianne wrote in our notebook about battles and wars, and I think she was being overly dramatic. However, she was right. It was good that we had that meeting. It started us thinking about some important things. Finding a place to hold the meeting turned out to be a problem. Christy acted as if the school were bugged or something. How about at a separate table in the cafeteria, Claudia suggested. Are you kidding? Never, said Christy. Someone's sure to overhear us. Is there an empty classroom we could sit in? Asked Marianne. Christy rejected the idea. It's too easy for someone to stand outside the door and eavesdrop. I guess the girls' room would. No way! You just hide one of the stalls and stand on the toilet.
Oh
No one
God.
knows you're there. You can hear everything.
Christy.
Jesus.
Obviously, Christy was just upset she didn't call the meeting.
Yeah.
Christy's going to be a nightmare to work with when she's older.
God.
Well, what about the playground? I said. We'll go off by ourselves, but we'll stand out in the open. That way, no one can sneak up on us, and we can move away if anyone comes too close. That was what we decided to do. We ate lunch quickly and gathered on the playground. Since no one was using the baseball diamond, we stood in the middle of it. It's called the pitcher's mound, you dumb bitch. It had snowed the night before, and there were about 3 inches covering the ground. My feet were blocks of ice before we even started talking. In New York City, 3 inches of snow wouldn't bother to stick. The flakes would melt as soon as they touched the pavement. Okay,
I lived in
Stacey.
New York.
Okay, Stacey, said Christy. So why did you call this meeting and not me? Because we've got a problem. Another one? A big one, but it might end up working out well for us. I said, oh, sorry. Because we've got a problem. Another one? A big one, but it might end up working out well for us, I said. That would be a switch, Claudia commented. What happened? I began, tucking my mittened hands under my arms in an effort to thaw out my fingers, which were as cold as my toes, was that I
But how
babysat...
cold are your toes?
That's what I was just going to say.
was that I babysat twice yesterday. Scandalous. Remember, I told you at the meeting that I had sat for Jemay, and he was upset about his new sitters. The girls nodded. Well, I forgot to tell you that I told Jemay to tell his mother if he doesn't like the sitters. I mean, we can't say anything to the parents, but the kids we sit for can. We can utilize those dumb little bastards. Oh, good idea, remarked Christy, the Machiavellian bitch. And in the evening, I sat for chocolate, and she was upset too, so I told her to talk to her parents. I think that from now on, we should watch for signs that the kids we take care of aren't happy with the Babysitters Agency. Then we should encourage them to speak up. They have the right. Plus, they're dumb. They're easy to convince. The other club members agreed with that wholeheartedly. The kids were dumb and easy to convince.
We can make them our puppets, Christy said. We also agreed that the agency sitters were inferior to club sitters. We were quality, and they were, well,
Whores.
dog shit. But we weren't prepared for what we saw on our way home from school that afternoon. The weather was awful. The sky was gray, and the air was still cold and windy. It was a raw day. The unplowed streets had turned to beds of icy slush. We were all freezing cold and my teeth were chattering. My diabetes was really acting up. As we rounded the corner to the street that Christy, Claudia, and Marianne live on, we almost bumped into Jamie Newton. He was standing by himself on the narrow strip of grass that runs between the sidewalk and the street. "Hi, hi," Jamie called.
"Jamie!" Christy exclaimed. "What are you doing here?"
"Playing," he replied.
"Well, you're much too near the street. Aren't you supposed to be in your backyard?"
She looked at the rest of us as if to say, "What is wrong with Mrs. Newton? Am I right?" "And where are your mittens, Jamie?" I added. "And your hat? It's freezing out here. Is your mother very busy with Lucy today?" Jamie shook his head. "She's at a meeting. Lucy is asleep." A car came whizzing down the street then. It sprayed us with slush. I shivered, trying not to think about what might have happened if Jamie had been playing in the street. Kablamo.
God.
"Jamie," Marianne said suddenly.
"Do you have a babysitter today?"
"Yup."
"What's her name?"
"Barb." "No, Kathy." "Kathy Morris?" I asked. "Yup."
"Does she know you're out here?"
Christy asked.
Jamie shrugged. "She said I could play outside." I turned to the club members. "What do you think we should do?" I asked them. "I'm not sure," Christy answered slowly.
A home invasion.
I said, kneeling down to Jamie's level. "Can you do 2 special things just for us?" "Yes," he replied solemnly. "Yes." "Good boy." Why is she talking to him like he's a dog? "Good boy. The first thing is to go inside and find your hat and mittens. If you can't reach them, ask Kathy for help, but don't go outdoors without them, okay?" "Yes." "The second thing is to play out back if you want to be outdoors. It's dangerous here by the street. Play on your swing, okay?" "Yes." We watched.
Kids are stupid.
We watched.
They
Jamie
really
run.
are good babysitters.
Aw. We watched Jamie run across his lawn and through his front door before we went on our way. "Wow," said Christy. "This is serious. That babysitter, whoever the so-called agency found for the Newtons, lets 3-year-olds play outside on their own. Holy shit, he was only 3?
Yeah.
That is fucking nuts."
That is nuts.
Do you know what could have happened to Jamie?" "He could have been hit by a car," said Claudia. "He could have wandered off," said Marianne. "You know, the brook's not frozen over yet. What if he fell in? Jesus!"
The brook?
"There are worse things,"
He could have been
I added.
taken by one of those pedophiles that keep calling us.
Well, that's where Stacey's mind went.
Oh, shit.
Apparently.
Also, it's like even like just out back in the yard. Like he's fucking 3.
Yeah, he could freeze to death. He could be dead in the ditch, to
Well,
quote my
it's just
mom.
unsupervised. Like
himself,
a 3-year-old doesn't go out back by
They're
themselves.
fucking
Like,
small.
Yeah.
There are worse things, I added. What about all the missing kids these days?
Oh, boy.
Someone could have driven by and just scooped him into a car. On a day like this, I waved my hand around to indicate the disgusting weather. There probably wouldn't be anyone around to see it happen. I'm not adding anything.
He could have been taken by a Pennywise.
The person wouldn't even have to bother trying to lure Jamie into the car. He could just kidnap him. "That's awful," exclaimed Christy. "I know. Well, I think we know we have to do something about the agency. Something more than just telling the kids to snitch to their parents."
the question, Christy said gravely, is what? Excuse me. Maybe we
Christy.
should talk to our own parents. My mom usually knows what to do. I don't see what the problem is, said Claudia.
You wouldn't, Claudia.
If I knew where Mrs. Newton was, I'd call her right now and tell her about Jamie. Then I'd call everyone else I could think of. We had reached Christie's house and were standing in front of it, shivering and talking. No, I said. I know what Christy means. If we start calling parents who use the agency, they'll just think we're poor sports and that we're trying to make the agency look bad because they're taking our business away. Oh, said Claudia. Right. Well, let's just go home, Marianne suggested. Maybe we should talk to our parents. The important thing is that Jamie's safe for now. All right, Christy agreed uncertainly. Claudia, Christy, and Marianne went into their houses, and I walked the rest of the way home. I found my mother in the kitchen reading the paper and having a cup of coffee. Hi, sweetie, she greeted. she greeted me. How was school? Fine. Mother? Yes. I had hung up my coat and was pouring myself a glass of milk because it had been a hard day. I sat down next to her at the table. If you knew that someone was doing something that could put someone else in danger, what would you do about it? Mom looked at me thoughtfully. I think I need a little more information.
Mom looked at me thoughtfully, not with panic,
Right?
the way any parent would. Any parent would.
Imagine saying that to your mom.
Any
They
parent
would be like, who did what to you?
Yeah, exactly. Any fucking parent would be like, what now?
Well, what if the someone who would be in danger was a little kid, and the someone putting him in danger was someone his parents trusted, but if you told, you would look bad?
Stacey Elizabeth, my mother said sharply. You're not talking about child abuse, are you? Oh, fuck, no, nothing like that. I could see the relief in Mom's eyes. Oh, thank God. And, she asked, are you talking about any of the girls in your babysitting club? No, I swear.
I mean, it's not child abuse, but letting a 3-year-old run around
Child
in
endangerment.
the street
Yeah.
unsupervised is pretty fucking bad.
I guess they don't know the term endangerment, but yeah. It's very
They
bad.
should know some common sense.
They should. No, I swear. I mean, the person causing the trouble isn't in the club. All right. Well, what do you mean about making someone look bad? Making someone look like a poor sport or a tattletale. What's the expression Dad uses? Sour grapes. Yeah, that's it.
Oh my God.
Sour grapes. This is just my opinion, said Mother, because you haven't given me the facts. But offhand, I'd say the person who's going to tell something should risk, quote-unquote, looking bad if a child really is in danger. There doesn't seem to be any question about it.
No, there doesn't.
Even if it's a difficult thing to do. I nodded. Okay, thanks, Mother. I ran upstairs to my parents' bedroom and phoned Christy.
I called my mother at work, she told me, and she said the same thing. She always said, stop calling me at work. But then she said the same thing your mom did. Only I told her the whole story. It wasn't a chicken shit like you. Marianne hasn't gotten hold of her father, but Claudia talked to Mimi, and she said the same thing too.
Oh, we love Mimi.
I love Mimi.
Yeah.
Claudia discusses all her problems with Mimi. She and Mimi are very close, as anyone would be with Mimi. Well, I asked.
Well, Christy gulped. I just saw Mrs. Newton's car drive by. She's home. I guess it's now or never.
15 minutes later, we met on the Newton's front steps. Nobody wanted to ring the doorbell. After a lot of shuffling around, Claudia finally did it. Jamie answered the door. Hi again, he said. Mommy's home now. He sounded absolutely delighted.
Good, said Claudia. Your mommy is just the person we want to see. Mrs. Newton ushered us into the living room. You look very serious, she said. Is anything wrong? Actually, yes, said Christy. She glanced at Jamie, who was trying to climb into his mother's lap. Could we talk to you alone? Well, certainly. Mrs. Newton looked surprised. I couldn't blame her. Jamie, she said, go see if Sesame Street is on, honey, okay? Sorry, I don't feel good. Jamie left the room. I feel like I'm running out of breath.
Oh, no.
We don't exactly know how to tell you this, Chrissy began awkwardly, but I guess we should begin with what happened this afternoon. She glanced at us. Mrs. Newton nodded patiently. Well, we were walking home from school, and when we got to your house, we found Jamie playing outdoors. By himself, Marianne added. Near the street, Claudia added. With no hat or mittens, I added. He told us Kathy Morris was babysitting for him, Chrissy continued, but she was indoors. We don't think she knew where Jamie was. We felt you really ought to know. Mrs. Newton didn't say a word. She looked horrified. We're sorry to be such tattletales, I said nervously, but we... No. Oh, girls, I appreciate your telling me. I'm sure it was hard to do. I can't believe... that was so irresponsible. I decided to go ahead and tell all. I knew yesterday that Jamie hadn't liked his new babysitters, but we didn't want you to think we were bad-mouthing our competition. Jamie told me that most... my brain stopped working.
It's okay.
I feel like my eyes stopped seeing.
Your brain was
What
just
was the
like,
last-
no.
When was the last time we vacuumed in here?
I can't answer, so quite a while.
Yeah. Jamie told me that most of his new sitters just talk on the phone or watch TV. He thought I wasn't going to pay any attention to him either. And one of the sitters smokes and burned a hole in the chair downstairs. Chocolate Johansson has been upset too.
We had a long talk about it last night. She says one of her sitters invites her boyfriend over. Well, said Mrs. Newton briskly, I certainly won't use the agency anymore, although we did find one 17-year-old sister we like very much. I'll continue to call him on his own, but not the others. I have to admit that Jamie hasn't seemed very happy lately, but I blamed it on sibling rivalry, the new baby. Anyway, I'll phone Peggy Johansson and a few other parents. They'll want to know what you told me, and then I'll call Michelle and Liz. Both of them, and Kathy Morris, of course. I wish I knew which one was the smoker. Mrs. Newton, Christy said suddenly, I know you'll want to call Kathy about this afternoon yourself, but could you let us talk to Liz and Michelle? We have a score to settle with them. We're going to throw acid in their face.
Why would I do that?
No, I'm an adult.
I'm just going to go with this as well.
Yeah.
Chapter 13. We settled the score first thing the next morning. We took a bat to their knees. We marched off to school and planted ourselves outside Liz and Michelle's homeroom. The girls arrived early. Well, said Liz, like, look who it is, the baby club. Like,
pretty good one.
Ha ha, Christy replied. I giggled, Michelle scowled. Have you finally come crawling? Liz asked. When your club fails, you can always work for us, you know. No way, said Christy. We're here to talk to you about an important business matter.
We're buying you out.
I was thinking the same thing.
Oh my god, it's like Succession.
Oh no! It's a bear hug.
It's a good deal. So, like, are we gonna do this? Huh? Go nut? Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
I miss Succession.
Me
I
too.
said.
We need to watch it again.
And what is so important? What is so important, said Christy, is that yesterday Kathy Morris was babysitting for a 3-year-old boy and she let him go outdoors by himself. So? We found him playing near the street with no hat or mittens. Mittens!
I love that these books tell you the same thing 5 times in a fucking row.
It's like, here's the thing that happens, and then the next chapter we're gonna have the person telling you what you just read.
And then again in the next
And then
chapter.
again, and then again.
We had to send him inside. If we hadn't come along, he might have been hit by a car. 3-year-olds cannot play outside by themselves, and good babysitters ought to know that.
Just anyone should know that.
So we won't give Kathy any more jobs, Michelle spoke up. She doesn't really like babysitting anyway. That's no surprise, said Claudia. What do you mean by that? Snapped Liz.
I mean, said Claudia, that the kids we know don't like the sitters you find. And are you saying we're not good babysitters? Asked
Yes.
Michelle. Well, I said, a good babysitter spends time with the children she sits for. She doesn't ignore them and talk on the phone.
Why is
or
this so
watch
soapboxy about like the heart of a babysitter?
TV all the time, and that's my truth.
Well,
Oh,
I can answer that. I can answer that because my mother was a child care provider, and she went on TV once with my godmother, Miss Cecilia, and Miss Cecilia was quoted as saying, like, I am not a babysitter. I do not sit on babies. I am a child care provider. And I feel like the Babysitters Club are child care providers.
They really are. They don't sit on babies.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, we
The
always...
next book where they sit on babies.
Oh,
The
we
gang sits on babies.
play with the kids we take care of. We tell the other sitters to do that too. Right, Michelle? Oh, right.
Then, said Christy, you must know the kids pretty well by now. A good babysitter knows a lot about the children
Is she gonna
takes
fucking
care of.
quiz them?
Do you know what Jamie Newton's favorite kind of sandwich is?
Liz paused. I only babysat for him like once, she said.
It's peanut butter and honey toasted, said Marianne, finding her voice.
That sounds really good.
Actually, does sound pretty
I'm
good.
gonna eat that.
Huh.
What's
I'd use butter,
Chocolate
though.
Johansson's favorite game?
Asked Christy. Liz and Michelle glanced at each other. Candyland, Michelle said.
Chocolate's really smart. Her favorite game is Scrabble. You bitch!
Have you ever sat for the marshals? Asked Claudia. I have, said Liz. 2 girls. Nina, 3. And Eleanor, 1. I really thought she was going to add, so there. Right, said Claudia. And do you know what it means when Eleanor rubs her ears? That she has an earache. No, it means she's getting hungry.
Why? That's not normal.
Do you remember what Nina is allergic to?
Asked Marianne. For heaven's sake, what is this? 20 questions?
Come on, said Christy. You sat for her. I'll give you a hint. It's a food. Fuck. What could you have fed her that would have made her break out in hives?
Oops, I didn't press the button.
Oh, yeah, that was very confusing. I don't know, okay, Liz said angrily, the same time that Marianne said, strawberries! What are you trying to prove, asked
I
Michelle.
mean, that could have been like a lot of, strawberries, peanuts.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of foods.
Yeah. Shrimp.
Kiwi.
Although, I don't really think babysitters are probably feeding kids shrimp.
Probably not.
Mangoes.
Mangoes.
What? Yeah, you don't have to keep listing. There's a lot of food. What are you trying to prove, asked Michelle, but she answered her own question. That you're better babysitters than we are? You said it, I didn't, replied Christy.
Oh, shit!
Okay, so you proved it, said Liz. Now go away and leave us alone. We did. We gathered in the girls' room. What do you think that meant? I asked.
What?
You know?
Stacey.
Her brain is riddled with diabetes. Okay, give her a The other club members shook their heads, and it felt like some sort of victory, but we weren't sure. We wondered what had happened when Mrs. Newton called Kathy. We wondered what was going to happen when the parents heard the news about the agency and began talking to their children. We figured we'd hear something over the weekend. Unfortunately, I was spending that important weekend in New York. My parents picked me up.
Oh my god, I know.
Yeah, after school on Friday. I was all set. I'd packed my bag the night before, and it was in the back seat along with a pillow, a Judy Blume book, an apple, and homework assignments for the following week. More important, I had seen Dr. Johansson the night before, and a special doctor's appointment had been arranged for late Saturday afternoon. Before I left, she handed me an official-looking envelope with my parents' names typed on the front. Sorry, I'm dying. I waved to Claudia, Marianne, and Christy from the car window. See you on Wednesday, I called. My father pulled away from the curb, and we began the 2-hour drive to New York City. I was just going to say, how fucking long could it be? It's like she's packed for... I mean, I know they're going for a few days, but it's like she was going to camp out in the backseat of the car. It's a 2-fucking-hour drive. When we reached the highway, I said, so who are we staying with this time? Aunt Beverly or Uncle Lou or Aunt Carla and Uncle Eric? I hoped it was Aunt Beverly and Uncle Lou.
Me too.
I liked my cousins Jonathan and
Ah!
Kirsten a lot better than my
so fun.
a lot better than my cousin Cheryl. Fuck that bitch.
Come
Cheryl.
stay with me, Stacey. Come stay with me. I'll feed you chocolate.
He'll kill her.
That's what she
Mom
wants,
and
though.
Dad looked at each
To
other
die.
and smiled. Then Mom turned around and faced me. We were going to surprise you when we got to the city, but we might as well tell you now. We're not staying with the Spencers or the McGills. Yippee! You mean we're staying in a hotel? I adore hotels. No, we're staying with the Cummingses.
Wait, no,
The
no,
Alan
no.
Cummingses?
Hang on.
Well, I'll do another read of it, and I'll emphasize
Yes,
the three letters that are
Please.
italicized for some reason.
Please.
No, we're staying with the Cummingses. You can see Lane again. With the Cummingses?
Oh, wait, Lane was the old best friend in New York.
Oh,
right?
Lane Cummings.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
wasn't she shitty or something?
Yeah, because she was shitty, yeah. But just like, why is she emphasizing the Cummings?
Right? And, like, wouldn't
because her
you do
parents-
anything in your power to not have that word be hyphenated? Add another word to the sentence. Push that word onto the next line.
Oh, wow.
Do they know what's
People
wrong
don't have
with me
the
then?
context.
Did you tell them? Yes, we finally told them. It's funny. Now that you're so much better, there doesn't seem to be any reason for them not to know.
There never was a
Wait,
reason for
what?
them not to know.
There's no oh, God. What?
Does Lane know? Yes, her parents have told her. But, Mom, how could you do that to me? You know Lane hates me and I hate her. Oh, Stacey, said Mom, that was months ago. I'm sure you and Lane are over that fight, especially now that Lane knows the truth about you.
Oh, it's the title of the book.
I slumped down in my seat. No, we're not, I replied. Well, I'm sure you'll feel differently when you see her. No, I won't.
That
Lane
was a
didn't.
terrible, terrible plan.
Yep.
Lane didn't either. When Mrs. Cummings opened the door to their apartment and let Mom and Dad and me in, Lane wasn't in sight. Mrs. Cummings greeted us warmly and showed Mom and Dad into the guest room where they would be staying. Then she told me to go on into Lane's room. I walked slowly down the hall to her bedroom. Being in the Cummingses' apartment felt strange after such a long time. Lane's door was closed. A big sign said,
No
"Knock
diabetes
before
allowed."
entering." I knocked. Who is it? Lane called. It's Stacey.
No answer. Can I come in? No answer. I went in anyway. Fuck it. I threw my duffel bag down on one of the twin beds. Lane was
Wait,
lying
this
on the...
chick is so rich she has 2 beds in her room?
This bitch. Lane was lying on the other bed, reading a book. She didn't look up. I walked back to the door. I just want you to know, I said as I started to close the door, that I'm not any happier to be here than you are to have me. I wanted to stay in a hotel. In fact, staying with Cheryl, would have been a picnic compared to this. Stacey. Uh-oh. It's the time where my brain breaks. Lane finally looked up from her book. Stacey! But I stepped into the hall, slamming the door behind me. I could hear the adults in the living room, so I went into the guest room. It was the only place I could be alone. Lane and I didn't speak all evening. I noticed, though, that she watched me very carefully, especially at dinner. To see what
Everyone
I ate.
knows diabetics are thieves.
But
They
there
steal
wasn't,
your sugar.
but there wasn't much for her to see. Jesus Christ. I cleaned my plate with my tongue. Dessert was fruit, which I could eat. I kept my insulin pump out of sight. I'm not sure what Lane was expecting that night, but I didn't faint or throw up. I was neither overweight nor underweight, and nobody gave me any special attention, food, or favors. I was as normal as she was, except that I had diabetes. The next morning, my parents and I left for Dr. Barnes's clinic around 11 o'clock. We wanted to enjoy the city, so we decided to walk. We walked down Central Park West, with the park on our left, and then we turned onto West 63rd Street. You
This
keep
is
a track?
very important information. It should come up later on.
The clinic...
That truly was just white noise in my brain.
Yeah. The clinic was not far away. It occupied a suite of rooms on the ground floor of a tall, modern apartment building. Mom gave our names to a receptionist in the waiting room, and we sat down on a hard couch. We were the only people there. Life sure is hard for a diabetic in New York.
15 minutes later, a nurse entered the room. She told my parents that Dr. Barnes would be with them shortly. Then she led me down a hall and into an examining cubicle. And the tests began. I was examined, poked and prodded. Blood was drawn. I was fed a specially prepared lunch and more blood was drawn. Then this woman holding a sheaf of papers asked me to do weird things like draw a picture of my family, make up stories about ink blots, and build towers of blocks. I ran on a treadmill and tried to do sit-ups and push-ups. I rode an exercise bicycle.
Okay, I know we made the joke before, but she doesn't have diabetes of the brain.
At last I was given a written test.
What?
It might have been an IQ test, but I wasn't sure because my IQ was pretty low. Whatever it was, it looked long.
I remember they were saying this doctor approaches things holistically.
Yeah. They're going to try to think the diabetes out of her. My appointment with the other doctor was at 5 o'clock, and I still hadn't even told my parents about it. At 3:10, I began to feel nervous. At 3:20, I began to perspire. You weren't perspiring on that treadmill.
It's not going to look good on your tests.
But at 3:30, a nurse came to take the paper away. Woo! Just in time. I was sent back to the waiting room. I had been at the clinic for 4 hours, and I had not laid eyes on Dr. Barnes. My parents had, though, and they looked a little confused. I took advantage of that. I spotted a coffee shop across the street from the building the clinic was in. Let's go get something to drink, I suggested. When we were seated in a booth, Dad said, "Well, tell us about your day, honey." I did, briefly. The waitress brought us our order. As Mom and Dad sipped their coffee, I said carefully, "You know, you guys were right about something." "What's that?" asked Mom. "That it's important to learn about diabetes and how to live with it. And so, I've been looking into it myself." "You have?" said Dad. "Good for you." "Yeah, and I heard about this doctor, Dr. Graham. He's a big authority on childhood diseases, especially diabetes. He's done lots of research and even started some organization to study diabetes."
Dad raised his eyebrows and nodded his head. Uh-huh. "The thing is," I said, "I have an appointment with him today. It's sort of a surprise. We're supposed to be at his office at 5 o'clock. I held out the letter from Charlotte's mother. "This is from Dr. Johansson. I think you better read it now." "What?" my mother started to say. "Honey, Just read it," I said. Dr. Johansson had shown me the letter before she sealed it in the envelope, so I knew what it said. It explained that we had discussed this new doctor and that I had expressed an interest in seeing him and had asked Dr. Johansson to help me get an appointment. It said that I had gone to her confidentially, which was why she hadn't contacted my parents personally. She wound up by praising the doctor's work, apologizing to Mom and Dad for any inconvenience, and offering to talk with them when we returned to Stony Brook. My parents read the letter together, frowning, because they did not know how to read.
What are these shapes?
Hence their understanding of diabetes. "Stacey, I'm not quite sure what to think of all this," said Dad when the letter had been returned to the envelope. "I thought you'd be pleased," I said, although that wasn't quite true. "Well, we are. We weren't expecting this. We don't know how expensive he's going to be. We don't know anything about him. I wish you'd discuss this with us before you made an appointment."
Information to Dr. Johansson?
Also, like, just knowing the way people react to stuff in America, like, those parents would straight up sue Dr. Johansson.
Yeah.
They'd be like,
Can
you fucking
imagine,
quack!
As an adult,
Yeah.
like, just thinking about another adult telling your kid to go to a different doctor and making an appointment.
Like, making an appointment for them. Yeah. That's, Dr.
Especially
Johansson,
nowadays.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dr. Johansson
I just can't even imagine how pissed my mom would have been.
Any parent, yeah. Dr. Johansson should be like, I'm not fucking touching this at all. Like,
and would instantly, like, call Stacey's parents.
Oh, yeah.
My mom would have been like, "Well, who the fuck do you think we're seeing tomorrow?" Like, she would have been like, "Yeah, way ahead of you, bitch."
Well, your mom's a nurse.
Well, yeah.
That doesn't count. You're ahead of the game
Your
on
mom
medical
doesn't
stuff.
believe in holistic medicine.
"I wish you'd discuss this with us before you made an appointment." "You make appointments for me without asking me first," I pointed out.
Oh, damn.
Child. You're a child.
You're 12.
"True," said Mom. "Dr. Graham. His name sounds familiar." "Philip Graham. I think I've heard about him or read about him. She began to look impressed. He's supposed to be excellent, but very busy, and almost impossible to see. You were lucky to get an appointment, Stacey.
Listen, I said hastily, since Mom seemed so impressed. His office is way across town at East 72nd Street and York Avenue. We'd better get going. East 70... What did I say?
Second.
All right. Well,
Like an idiot.
77th Street. Write it down. Dad looked at his watch. We certainly better. He paid the man at the cash register, and we hurried outside and hailed a
Forgot
cab.
he was the dad from Coraline.
Yeah. I scrambled into the back seat between Mom and Dad, and I crossed my fingers. So far, so good. Dr. Graham's office looked just the way I thought the office of a children's doctor should look. Lots of balloons and clowns everywhere, shapes. This is the early 90s, so triangles and squiggles.
The comparison between the way they babysit to the way the agency works. Or I'm giving this too much credit.
You might be doing that.
Definitely, yes.
The waiting room was small and cozy with 2 big dumpy couches and lots of child-sized seats. On a little table by a window were some puzzles, a stack of picture books, and several copies of Cricket magazine. Cricket
Is it
magazine?
about crickets?
It's the best magazine for kids, boy howdy.
Or maybe it's just they weren't allowed to mention highlights.
Yeah, probably.
Wait. On a little table by a window were some puzzles, a stack of picture books, and several copies of Hustler. In a big bin were trucks, cars, dolls, and other toys. I sat down with the latest issue of Hustler and began to read
Wait,
while...
no, but the real... The actual magazine is just crazy.
I sat down with the latest issue of 17 and began to read while Mom spoke to the receptionist. Why is that crazy?
Way too young to be reading that.
Well, she's too young to be reading 17.
Yeah.
Also, having
She's 12.
having a highlights and a 17 magazine in the same lobby is
Cricket.
just strange. Huh?
It's Cricket, not highlights.
Shut up,
Well,
Jonathan.
also,
You know what I mean.
well, also going to a pediatrician when you're 17, I think is strange.
It is strange, but it is definitely possible. Like, they're still teenagers. They can go to a pediatrician. But catering to a 17-year-old with a 17 magazine in a pediatrician's office
Yeah, that should be
odd.
like
Why was it in 17 magazine?
I mean, it's just like a teen fashion magazine.
Okay.
But you wouldn't think to go to a
yeah.
doctor as a 12-year-old.
Yeah,
it's a
you're
gateway
right.
drug to Cosmo.
Yeah, it's like
yes.
the teenage version of Cosmo.
Okay, that makes sense.
I've
'Cause
read
I
it.
remember highlights and
You
had
wouldn't have like
puzzles and shit.
blocks and puzzles and then
Yeah.
a 17 magazine.
Yeah, blocks
I
and
have older
puzzles, and then like
sisters,
on
I'm
another table, like
familiar.
a stack of 17 magazines and a bowl full of tampons.
Yeah.
Or in this case, probably pads. Because
Well, she's 12.
Like 89.
Okay.
When did tampons get invented?
Probably before 1989.
Yeah, but like they weren't a thing like
All right, let
universally.
me Google when were tampons popular.
Yeah.
And we will never finish this book.
This is important to pause for.
This is
I
like the
feel.
first major tangent we've gone on.
That's true.
Becca's typing
we-
into her
we've
phone
only-
right now. When were tampons popular?
Tampons were popularized in 1931.
Okay, but
Jonathan's brain just broke.
no, for real though. Like I didn't. Well, first of all, I'm a boy, so I wasn't taught about periods. But I don't. I thought tampons. Were
I'm a boy
much...
and I wasn't taught about periods. I was just kind of thrown into the deep end of living with 3 people that had them.
Okay, I mean,
Well, I didn't have
all
any
right.
sisters.
The question I asked was when were tampons popularized. This says 1931 is when they were invented.
Right.
So
That's what.
I'm still digging.
Okay. Because
I wonder if people were like, well, clearly it's the devil.
Well, first of all, I don't remember seeing
She asked for
commercial.
tampons instead of a diaper. Put her in an NA asylum. That's a
Well,
very hard sentence
what?
to say.
Okay,
I mean,
if someone
back
asked
during
for-
that time,
if someone asked for
honestly, if you
tampons instead
disagree
of a
with a woman,
diaper,
you could have her
yes.
committed.
You should be giving a baby tampons, Chris.
Now, in the 30s, if you disagreed with a woman,
Yes,
you could have her committed.
I'm making a joke about what you said.
Hang
I
on. I thought I was finding out something about the history of tampons, but it was really just like a blog about cotton that was pushing a specific type of tampon.
Are tampons racist?
All I remember is growing up seeing commercials for like maxi pads. I don't remember seeing commercials for tampons until like, I don't know, late 90s maybe? Like
I remember when the wings became a thing.
Yeah, yes. I remember a lot of commercials of
they really
pads
sold the wings
where they poured that blue liquid on like one pad and it soaked through, and then they poured blue liquid on another pad and it just like puffed up like a sponge. And I didn't know what the fuck it was.
Yeah,
but
and for
I never
a young
saw
boy, it
Everything
was just
I'm
like
looking at are just fucking ads for whatever type of tampon.
Well, and
but it is saying that the 60s and 70s, they became more whatever.
more mainstream.
Yeah.
so it took 30 years.
Well, I honestly think it took a little longer than that, maybe. I just remember reading or hearing something for a while because, like, I think tampons were a taboo thing in a lot of households because of how penetrative they are.
Yeah.
Because of how they work, yeah.
I was hoping you wouldn't use that word, but that's fine.
Penetrative.
Ugh.
But yeah, like, I think a lot of mothers are like, I'm not using them and my daughters aren't either. So anyway.
You're going to use this as the fucking TikTok clip to sell this episode, aren't you?
Oh, 100%. I wasn't even thinking of that, but now that you brought it up, I know exactly where to go. An hour and a half into the episode, it's our tampon discussion. I'll use part of it. So anyway, where was I? Jesus Christ. I sat down with the latest issue
I still can't find a good answer. And this...
What's that image?
This is on Wikipedia.
Uh-huh.
This is an image on Wikipedia. It looks like...
Hold it up to your camera real quick.
Wait, show it to me first.
I
so can
will.
react to it.
What's the name of the 3-year-old kid?
Jamie Newton?
Jamie Newton. It looks like Jamie Newton drew this. This is on Wikipedia. This is a diagram on Wikipedia.
What the
That was
fuck
done
is
in
that?
MS Paint.
That's what I was just gonna say. That's like
I don't
an
know where
MS
the
drawing.
front is.
The front's there. That's the butt.
Right.
That's clearly the butt.
Oh,
back
the
up.
pink thing's the tampon.
Oh, because that's the
No
string.
fucking-
Wait, so that's
What's
the.
that?
Wait, that's the uterus, right? That looks like a little.
Sure.
From the side. Well, it looks like a little. Triangle
It looks like
with
an
some...
egg. It looks like an eggplant.
Okay,
Well,
I have a question.
I'm saying a uterus from the side might look like an eggplant. No,
I have
it's
a
got
question.
the
I
little.
just don't think
It's got the little dangles.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm
Okay.
just saying it looks like a piece of shit. It looks horrible.
I
It does look like a piece.
I have an honest question.
That's
Yes.
the spine.
I
Shut
never thought to ask it before.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a safe space.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have a mom and 2 sisters. I've had a few relationships.
Where is this
And I
going?
never thought to ask, does the string just hang out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad I know now.
Why
Because
did
I've always
you answer
wondered.
that faster than me?
Because I kind of thought that's what he was gonna ask.
Yeah, that's how you get it back out.
As a
Well,
boy.
I mean, that's
honestly,
what I
think that
thought.
Yeah, that's
But
no.
like, I wasn't sure.
It's not a judgment. That's fine.
That was honestly, I think, one of my first questions when I was learning about stuff, and I was like, "Wait, there's a string?" Yeah, we aren't taught this.
I've always confidently assumed that was the case, but I was never like 100%, and I was like a solid like 90.
Happy to answer any and all tampon questions.
Thank you
have.
very much.
I haven't bought tampons in 5 years.
Welcome back to Tampon Talk. It's our new
Tamp
podcast
Talk.
where we just talk about tampons and how they work and when they were popularized.
Tamp Talk. Make sure you turn your podcaster Tamp on to listen.
Tamp Talk coming to you live from Tampa Bay. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'm just learning some stuff.
Just learning about okay. You read about tampons. I'm gonna keep.
Apparently, in the novel Carrie, the title character is bullied for menstruating and is bombarded with tampons and pads by her peers.
Yeah, that's the opening scene of the movie.
I don't fucking remember that movie.
Like,
The opening-
oh, boo on you.
They throw a bunch
This
of
thing
tampons
happened
at
to
her?
you.
Yeah,
that
the opening
happens
scene of
to
the movie is
everyone.
her getting her period in like the shower, like the school shower.
And what are like a bunch of 11-year-olds throwing tampons at her?
No, they're just a bunch of bitches. Cause oh, okay. Carrie's mother is like a super crazy religious woman. So Carrie doesn't know what a period is. So she starts bleeding and has like a breakdown in the shower, and all the
that's
girls
so sad.
are like mocking her because they know her mom's crazy and they know she's like a weird insulated person. So she's like huddled in the shower bleeding, and the girls just start throwing tampons at her.
All right.
Welcome to Carrying On, the podcast where we do a deep dive into the
I'm
novel Carrie.
Having like a fucking IUD replacement tomorrow. I just don't want to think about any of this anymore. Let's
Yeah, that
move
was quite a lot
the
of
fuck on. I don't even remember how we got here.
17 magazine.
17
Let's get right back to
magazine.
it. I sat down with the latest issue of 17 where they were talking about the movie Carrie and tampons and began to read while mom spoke to the receptionist. In a moment,
There's probably ads for like Playtex and shit in there.
I'm sure there was ads for like Chris said, now with wings.
Yeah.
Which I remember, okay, we're never going to get back to this book. I remember asking you, because
Apparently
like,
the wings were like an innovation.
well, but also I remember asking you because I had I'd never known anyone who used, to my knowledge, I'd never known any women who actually used a fucking maxi pad because like I learned about how tampons work, and then one day I remember asking you like, wait, so does a pad just sit there?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was your reaction.
Yeah. It doesn't go in.
And then I asked
it just
like,
sits there.
and I was like, wait a minute, so the wings, like
They
just
fold around the outside.
and they just
and they
stick to
stick.
you?
It's sticky.
That's
The
awful.
whole
They
outside is
stick?
sticky.
Yes!
And then the wings
So
fold
it doesn't
over
shift
and stick.
around.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like adhesive on the opposite side.
The-
But they
They
stick to
never
the girl's
conveyed
junk.
that. They
Well,
never conveyed
but,
that
I
in the
mean,
commercials.
There's not glue on the side that faces your junk. It's not like sticky there. The sticky stuff is to stick to your underwear.
Yeah, it's just the commercial never conveyed what the
stick to
wings
your
actually
body.
Oh, I
did.
thought it stuck
The
to your
wings
body.
fold, so it lays down, and then the wings fold out and around the outside of your underwear to just hold it there.
Yeah.
That
The
seems like a
commercials
pain
always
in the
did a
ass to
terrible
put on.
job.
It is. It is a pain in the ass.
That seems like a giant pain in the ass.
And it's just very uncomfortable in general.
well, yeah, it's just I imagine it would literally feel like wearing a diaper.
It does.
Yeah.
It's pointless unless you are
I
crazy
learned
and think that using
so
a
much
tampon
this
means losing
episode.
your virginity.
Welcome back to Pad Pals, where we talk about how maxi pads work.
Happy to enlighten you guys.
I'm happy you did.
Welcome back to the show Wings. Nope, not that Wings.
And then a picture of Tony Shalhoub popped up.
Okay.
And the guy from that
can't
that TV
remember.
remake of The Shining,
Yeah.
who was also in Wings.
What was this?
Which
fuck.
also refers back to
Tim?
another period joke.
Tim
from a
no,
different
Timothy
show.
was in yeah, there's two guys. Okay. It doesn't
He
fucking
was the
matter.
wacky brother on
The wacky
Wings.
one.
He had a very pointy face.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Very
He's
pointy
a wild
face.
card.
Dr. Graham himself came out. He was
we're
a
reading a book. I'm sorry.
he was a tall
I
black
forgot.
man with
Great.
sparkling eyes and a deep voice. I liked him right away. Stacey, I didn't like you, but I like you less now. Well, Stacey, he said, shaking my hand, I'm glad to see you. You're my last patient today. These must be your parents. Mom and Dad and the doctor introduced themselves while Dad tried to apologize for my setting up the appointment without telling them about it. Dr. Graham said he didn't mind at all. Then he ushered us into his office,
He should have.
which was every bit as fancy and as full of diplomas as I could have hoped. 56 of them, if you remember.
Chock full of diplomas.
I mean, to a kid, you see all those things on the wall. It's like, I don't know what any of those mean, but that seems legit.
Seems legit. I'm not going to examine Stacey, he said. This is a consultation only. I just want to ask some questions. Question 1. Do you have diabetes? Some questions. He asked a billion. He asked about my birth, my health, before the diabetes was discovered, the course of the disease and how we were treating it. You know, stuff a fucking doctor would ask. He asked about the doctors I'd seen and my new doctor in Stony Brook. He asked Seems like legit shit. Me how I was doing in school and how I adjusted to the move and whether I was making friends. I told him the history of the Babysitters Club, and the meeting lasted 10 hours.
He asked me if I was using pads with wings or without.
Finally, he asked my parents to leave the office, and then he asked me some personal questions about how I felt about my doctors, my disease, and even Mom and Dad. We talked forever, and he wrote down everything I said on a pad of yellow paper.
A pad?
Then it had wings. Then he called my parents back into the office. Well, Dr. Graham said to them, you must be very proud of your daughter. I'm sure you feel lucky to have her. My parents nodded, smiling. In more ways than one, added Mom. How many other ways could there
Two.
be?
In 2 ways.
Okay. I'm glad you realize that, replied Dr. Graham, returning their smile. Because from what you've told
Are they
me,
gonna fuck Dr. Graham?
Stacey was a pretty sick young lady, but she's made excellent progress with her treatment. Quite honestly, without doing any tests, I can only see one problem. My mother paled slightly. What's that? Dad asked nervously. Although Stacey has taken the move to Connecticut and the change of schools and friends in stride, she seems to feel quite unsettled about her disease. She wants to be able to have some control over it, but she's a little afraid of it. Is that right, Stacey? Well, I twisted my hands together. It wasn't easy to be with my parents and watch their reactions to what the doctor and I were saying. The thing is, every time I think I understand what's going on, we see some other doctor who tells us to do something different. I asked Dr. Johansson about Dr. Barnes and his clinic. She said Dr. Barnes might make me go to a psychiatrist and even change schools. I had to pause to take a deep breath because I felt like I was going to cry. I don't want to change schools again. I want to stay with Claudia and Chrissy and Marianne. And I don't want to go to a psychiatrist or start exercise class or anything else.
There was a few seconds of silence. Then Dr. Graham spoke quietly. Dr. Werner is a superb physician, he said. I'm starting to get really drunk now.
Okay.
She has a wonderful
Just run through
reputation and is highly respected. It's my opinion that Stacey couldn't be in better hands unless they were my own, he added, smiling creepily. Ooh. Yeah. Mom and Dad laughed, but they didn't say anything for a moment. I saw them looking around the office at the diplomas and certificates and awards.
All 56 of them.
Dad cleared his throat. Ahem. I must admit, he said, that we were a bit perplexed today by some of the things. Many of the things, my mother interrupted. Many of the things Dr. Barnes told us. The tests that he's recommending for Monday and Tuesday seem rather unusual, and they're very expensive. Of course, money is no object where Stacey's health is concerned, he said hastily. Dr. Graham,
Except if
asked
it's a
Mom.
little too much.
Except for this bullshit.
What do you know about Dr. Barnes' clinic? Dr. Graham didn't mince words. I think it's a lot of bunk. Nothing he'll do will harm Stacey, but I don't think any of it is necessary. It's my opinion that what Stacey needs is some stability. What's most important for her right now is to understand her disease, and she can't do that if each doctor she sees tells her to try something different. As I said, I haven't done any tests, but Stacey seems incredibly healthy, considering how ill she was a year ago, and she seems to have a good handle on her insulin levels and her diet. Mom and Dad looked at each other. They looked at me. Maybe, said Mom, but she still isn't cured.
There's no fucking cure, you bitch.
It's time Stacey had some more say about her treatments. Do you want to go back to the clinic on Monday? She asked. No, I said. Excuse me. But I
Want to
would
go
like
beat
to
up
see.
the Babysitters Agency girl.
I gotta beat
But I
settle.
would like to see Dr. Werner while we're here, just for a checkup. If we can get an appointment on Monday. Do you want me to just do this?
I'll do it the next one.
Okay.
You mean you haven't already made one? No, I said, giggling. And after that, we can go home, and I can go back to school and my friends in the Babysitters Club. Well, said Dad, we'll discuss it tonight. Everyone stood up and then began shaking hands. I thanked Dr. Graham, and he winked at me and wished me good luck and told me I could call him any time I had questions. Dr. Graham, come on. He gave me a card with his phone number on it. Dr. Graham! And that night we talked. Mom and Dad and I, they didn't leave me out of the discussion. We ate an early dinner in a restaurant and talked for 2 hours. The waiter was like, "Are you done?" The decision? No more Dr. Barnes. Mom and Dad hadn't liked him anyway. They said they couldn't promise they'd never take me to some new doctor, but they agreed to hold off for a while and to let me help make a decision in the future. "Why not?" I said, wolfing down my dinner. "I seem healthy, don't I?" "As a horse," agreed Dad. Nay. Chapter 14.
This is fucking great.
After dinner, we met with Mr. and Mrs. Cummings.
Look, it hyphenated it in the same spot.
Cummings and Lane, and the six of us
Chris go? He's
went
missing this.
to a movie. A dirty movie. We reached the theater a little late and couldn't all sit together. Lane and I ended up by ourselves in the back row.
Remember those days?
Yeah.
Going to a movie and having random seats?
Yeah. Fucking losers. We agreed to meet our parents in the front of the theater when the movie was over. While the previews were showing, Lane got up and tiptoed into the lobby. She returned a few minutes later with a soda and a box of M&Ms. "Thanks for asking if I wanted anything," I whispered huffily. Lane looked at me in surprise. "You? I thought you couldn't eat any of this stuff. I can eat popcorn, popped corn. I can drink diet soda." "Well, I didn't know that. You would if you ever bothered to speak to me. You..." "Shh, shh." The man in front of Lane turned around and glared at us. "Shut the fuck up." Lane lowered her voice. "You don't talk to me either. You never even told me the truth about your sickness. Why would I want to talk to someone who ignores me and turns our friends against me and..." "Shut the fuck up!"
Oh my god.
The man turned around again. The woman next to him turned around too. "The movie is starting," she said, "and I'd like to hear what's going on. Shut the fuck up." I stood up. "Will you please let me by, Lane?" I asked super politely. "I'd like to get something to eat." What a movie experience.
I stalked out of the dark theater, but I wasn't alone. Lane was right behind me. I ignored her and stepped up to a snack counter. "A small Diet Coke and a small popcorn, please," I said to the boy behind the counter. He told me the price. I gulped. I'd forgotten how expensive things were in New York. The boy pushed my order across the counter. "Here you go." I like that she says the boy. He's
boy.
Probably like 6 years older than her.
The boy.
"Here you go, boy."
"Excuse me, boy. I'd like some popcorn."
I unfolded my money. I was 75 cents short. I blushed furiously. "Here's 75 cents. Lane dropped 3 quarters into the boy's outstretched hand. "Thanks," I mumbled. "Stacey."
His name's definitely Steve.
Lane said as I turned around carrying my food. "Yeah, I'm sorry." She didn't have to say what she was sorry about. I knew. "You are?" "Yeah." "I'm sorry too. I guess I should have told you what was wrong, but Mom and Dad weren't telling anyone but family. How come you stopped being my friend?" Lane looked at her feet. "I don't know." She sat down on a bench outside the entrance to the ladies' room. I sat down next to her, trying to balance the soda and the container of popcorn. I mean, you just have 2 hands. You can just hold them in your... You don't have to balance.
She put the popcorn on top of the soda.
On her knee. Like, I mean, I do know, I think. This is going to sound funny, but I was jealous. Jealous of me? You wanted to be sick? Well, no, of course not. I think if I had known what was wrong, I would have acted different. But you were getting so much attention. The teachers were always asking you how you felt and giving you extensions on your assignments. And you got to miss so much school. Lane, I nearly had to stay back.
Lane, you bitch.
Lane, you
You're
dumb
kidding.
bitch.
I didn't know that. Well, anyway, she went on. Remember Bobby Reeder? I nodded. He said he thought you were contagious. I don't know why I believed him, but I did. And since I was your best friend, I was positive I was going to get it, whatever it was. I was so scared. I just didn't want to be around you anymore. When my mother and father finally found out about our fight, they were sort of mad. We talked about it, but I didn't know how to apologize to you. That's why I never wrote you after you moved to Connecticut. Besides, I didn't think you'd accept my apology. If I were you, I wouldn't want me for a friend. I giggled. Well, I said after a moment, I was pretty mad. You did some mean things, but I guess it would have helped if I'd told you the truth. You know, lately, I've been remembering New York a lot, and every now and then I've thought, gosh, I wonder if Lane would know. A couple of times I almost decided to write you a letter. What kinds of things were you wondering about? Which I don't know why I find that so fucking funny. Well, for instance, remember Deirdre Dunlop and how we always said she'd be the first one in our class to outgrow her training bra? So, I was wondering, did she?
She's been thinking about Deirdre's boobs.
And I thought Christy was the lesbian.
Lane laughed, nearly snorting her root beer up her nose. Yes, she exclaimed.
They're
We call
huge.
Her Tits McGee now. And remember Lowell Johnston? Yeah, they say Deirdre came in wearing her new bra. He asked her for a date. You're kidding. No, honest, cross my heart. I kept asking questions and Lane kept answering them.
About Deirdre's
Were
boobs.
they all boob related?
Yeah, they're all about Deirdre's boobs.
I mean, I would hope so.
Yeah.
I realized how much I had missed her.
The next thing we knew, people were pouring out of the theater and into the lobby. We missed the whole movie! Batman 1989.
Aw. That was a good one.
I know. Oh, well, I said to Lane, it was worth it. We can see this movie anytime, but on Monday, I'll be leaving. We tossed our empty cups and boxes in a trash can and waited in the front of the theater for our parents. I'm sorry. That night, Lane and I talked until 2:30.
Well, it does look like the.
It looks like the The theater. The theater.
The amount of times you've
That
typed
night-
the word theater.
Okay. Also, I always type it RE because of the way I fucking spelled it in the thing.
You're so British.
Because I'm so British. That night, Lane and I talked until 2:30 in the morning. We were tired the next morning, but we wanted to make the most of our day. We ate breakfast by ourselves at Leo's Coffee Shoppy around the corner from Lane's apartment building. Then we took a walk in Central Park in the afternoon.
I keep trying to remind myself that they're 12.
In the afternoon, the Cummings and
Again.
Mom and Dad.
This was the 80s, where New York was a war zone.
Oh, right? Seriously. We took a walk around Central Park and dodged all the knifing hobos. In the afternoon, the Cummings and Mom and Dad and I went to Paris Magic!
I forgot about Paris Magic.
It was the best musical I've ever fucking seen! Afterward, we ate dinner at one of my favorite restaurants, Joe Allen.
Joe Allen?
Joe Allen and Paris Magic in the same day? Holy fucking shit!
Jonathan.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I had a female relative somewhere named Joe Allen.
Yeah.
When we got back to Lane's apartment, she and I wanted to have another night of secrets and chit-chat. But Mr. Cummings said... Mrs. Cummings said, lights out at 10 o'clock, since Lane had to go to school the next day. By the time we went to sleep, I felt as if two huge weights had been lifted from my chest and onto Deirdre's. One weight was... One weight was the fight with Lane.
What a great joke.
The other was Dr. Barnes in his clinic. I didn't have to worry about either one anymore.
Deirdre's going to have to buy a new bra.
She's going to wake up and be like, Jesus Christ! Mom
if she doesn't diet or sleep.
Mom called Dr. Werner's office early Monday morning. The receptionist said she could squeeze me in between patients, so I saw Dr. Werner at 10:30. She said I was doing fine. The end. And then we went home. I couldn't believe how happy I was to see Stony Brook again, and I couldn't wait for school to let out so I could talk to the other members of the Babysitters Club. Luckily, I didn't have to wait long. As soon as I saw the kids riding their bikes up my street, I called the Kishis. Mimi answered the phone. Hi, Mimi, I said. It's Stacey.
Stacey, you're at home? Claudia said that you would not be back until Wednesday. Everything is all right, I hope? Oh, yes, it's fine. Great, in fact. I'm glad to be home. Is Claudia back from school yet? She's just walking in the door. Please wait and I will call her to the phone. Hello, said Claudia after several seconds. Claude, it's me, Stacey. I'm back early. I'm finished with Dr. Barnes. Did anything happen over the weekend? Did you go to the mall? Did any parents call Liz or Michelle? Quite a few, Claudia replied smugly. Chocolate and Jamie and the other kids told their parents everything. You should have seen the faces that those girls put on in school today. If looks could kill, you'd be the only member of the Babysitters Club left. Wow, I said, giggling. I think our meeting this afternoon will be pretty interesting. Can I come over now? I can't wait any longer. Sure. I ran right over to Claudia's house. On the way, I passed Sam Thomas. I realized I'd barely thought about him recently. I'd been too wrapped up in doctors and the Babysitters Club. Besides, I was looking forward to going to the snowflake dance with Pete Black. Forgot all about that shit.
100% forgot about that.
Hi, Stacey, Sam called. Hi, Sam, I replied and ran on. Fuck you, Sam!
It's like, you're not important.
Claudia met me at her front door and we went upstairs to her room. The girls had not, as it turned out, gone to the mall with their sandwich boards. Too much had been happening with the Babysitters Agency and their angry parents. They had decided to try to go next weekend, if it was even necessary. Fucking sandwich boards.
I will say,
All it makes me think
as
is
a
Die
child,
Hard with a Vengeance.
as a child growing up, who literally had a best friend that lived 2 doors up in a row home, like, when they would come back from vacation, it was like fucking Christmas.
Aww,
So the fact
adorable.
that she came back early, like, oh boy, that hits me in the feels.
Aww.
The phone began ringing at 4:30, an hour before our meeting start. Christy and Marianne hadn't arrived yet. I answered the first call. It was Mrs. Newton. Hi, Stacey, she said. I'm holding a meeting of the literary circle at my house on Friday afternoon, and I need someone to watch Lucy and keep Jimmy busy for a couple of hours. Watch Lucy? I was thrilled. Oh, I'll do it, I said. What time? 3:30 to 5:30. Great, I'll be there. By the way, Stacey, I thought you'd like to know that I had a talk with Kathy Morris. I hope I wasn't too hard on her. I explained all the responsibilities that are involved in babysitting and told her how upset I was about last week. I think she honestly didn't realize what she was doing wrong. She also told me she just found an after-school job at Polly's Fine Candy. She seems excited about it. Well, good, I said. She'll probably earn more money that way. I also called the Johansons, the Marshalls, the Pikes, the Spencers, the Gianmarcos, the Dodsons, and even Christy's mother, just in case she would ever think of using the agency for David Michael. All the parents agreed that, if nothing else, they ought to know their babysitters in advance and not trust the agency to find sitters for them, and I heard a number of complaints from other parents. Jamie and Chocolate, weren't the only unhappy children. I want you to know how grateful we are that you girls were brave enough to come forward and tell us what was going on. Well, I said, it wasn't easy, but I'm glad we did it. A minute later, I got off the phone and began bubbling over with everything Mrs. Newton had said, but Claudia had just glared at me. Glare. What? I said. What's the matter?
Stacey, you took that job Mrs. Newton offered. You know the rules.
Hold on, Jonathan, real quick.
Yeah.
I thought I was stalling for Bekah to come back because I'm an idiot. and I read after Bekah. I've read after Bekah for how many years now?
I didn't even notice that you were stalling. It was just
how many years have I read after Bekah?
Very truthfully, that page was boring and I zoned out.
Yeah. Multiple years I've read after Bekah.
Oh,
I always read after Bekah, but for some reason I stalled thinking, shit, she reads next. I should take forever.
It's fine. We're drunk. Oops. Oh, yeah, I said.
I feel ashamed.
Sorry. The rule is that every job that comes along must be offered to all members of the club before someone takes it. We fucking know. I had just broken one of our most important and sacred rules. I must be punished. I'd like to take care of Lucy too, you know, said Claudia, and I bet Christy and Marianne would feel the same way. I'm sorry, I said again. I just forgot. I was so excited. Oh, it's okay, replied Claudia. I'd be pretty excited if I were you. Besides, I've broken that rule often enough. I grinned. That was true. Claudia was a dumb bitch. During the next half hour, both Mrs. Marshall and Mr. Johansson called with last-minute jobs that they had agency sitters lined up for but had canceled over the weekend. Christy and Marianne arrived. We were offered 4 more jobs. One was with a new client. At 6 o'clock, we got off the phone. I wonder if anyone will call us at home tonight, said Marianne.
Probably, answered Christy. With Christmas so close, everyone is going to parties, dinners, concerts, parties. All these pineapples in the window. This may be our busiest season.
Well, I said, it's been tough, but we hung in there and beat out the agency.
More important, added Christy, we beat them because we're good babysitters.
We won the battle and the war, said Marianne. We're the best around. No one's going to ever keep us down, exclaimed Claudia. I feel like we need I thought that said I feel like we need a beer.
Always.
I feel like we need a cheer. I said, a Shiner cheer. Rah, 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 sis, boom, bah, something, something, the Babysitters Club, hooray. I don't know, I'm not a writer.
Jesus fucking Christ, Stacey.
Would you settle for junk food? Asked Claudia. She removed a bag of gumdrops and a smushed package of saltines for me.
Ew.
I love
That's
saltines.
not a treat. No.
Yeah, smush though, so just like powder.
I can eat an
Salty
entire
powder.
sleeve of saltines.
I can when I'm sick.
I would rather have nothing.
From under the cushion.
All the time for me.
From under the cushions of her armchair. We ought to congratulate ourselves and celebrate. The 4 of us looked at each other. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations. We said
They said it
solemnly.
solemnly.
Wait, okay.
Sorry.
Why though?
1, 2, 3. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
We said solemnly. We made it, I added.
But they were so excited a minute ago.
Claudia passed around the food.
I don't understand.
What? That was a perfect ending.
I know.
Chapter
What more
15.
is there to do?
Ring, ring.
Sit some babies.
Ow.
Sorry.
My ear.
And that was with an earbud in. Jesus Christ,
I know.
Jonathan.
It was like a knife went into the other ear. Ring, ring. Hello?
I'm excited.
Hello, Stacey? Yes. Lane, hi. Oh, I'm so glad you called. Hang on just a sec. I rested the phone on the kitchen table. Mom, it's Lane. I'm going to talk to her in your room, okay? Could you hang up the phone when you hear me get on? Aw, remember?
Aw, yeah.
Remember those days?
One of
We're
these
so
days,
old.
I want one of them to pick up the phone and it'll be like,
Perfect noise.
thank you.
Oh my god. And then the dad's like, God damn it.
Yeah, and then you hear someone go, like slam their hands down on a desk somewhere in the house. Who's jerking off?
Ew.
The people
so
I talked to
old
at
now.
that age lived on my street, so like I never had that issue.
Oh, shit.
I raced upstairs and closed the door to my parents' bedroom. I'm on, Mom! I heard a click as she hung up the phone, or at least pretended to, and then held the phone silently to her ear to listen in. She might have just been like,
Oh, yeah.
all right, now we can talk, I told Lane. So what's going on? Well, I wanted to know what happened with your babysitting club. Last weekend you said something was going on with some agency.
Something was afoot.
Oh, you won't believe it. The agency went out of business. You are kidding me.
Good.
No, honest, I said. The parents stopped calling the agency because they decided they couldn't trust Liz and Michelle, you know, those two girls, to find good sitters. But guess what? Okay, so Claudia tells me this on Monday. I'm trying to sound excited because I know this is going to be boring as fuck. Go to school on Tuesday, and there's Liz standing on the lawn carrying a sign that says Makeovers Incorporated, and next to her is Michelle with a bunch of flyers. She's passing them out, and Christy, the president of our club, is so curious. She goes and takes one, even though Michelle is looking at Christy like she's a snake or a roach or something. Like, giggles. So they're starting a
Makeovers Incorporated? That's fucking awesome. I want to read that
read the flyer.
Book.
I want to get made over by a 12-year-old girl in the 80s.
By a 12-year-old girl w's smoking?
Yes. Well, oh my God. She could probably do a wing liner better than I can.
Well, hold on. These girls were older, so they're at least 13 or 14.
Yeah.
We read the flyer, I continued, and Liz and Michelle already have a new business. You can call them and pay them $5, and they show you how to put on makeup, figure out the best way to fix your hair, that kind of thing. It's perfect for them since that's all they care about. Then for another $5, they'll take you shopping and help you pick out new clothes and jewelry and stuff. They even have special rates before school dances and holidays.
That honestly sounds like a better idea than like the Babysitters Club.
Those girls are smart, Lane. They'll probably earn more money doing that than lining up sitting jobs for their friends.
Yep.
And I know you had your creepy crawler business when you were in elementary school, but I just didn't know any children with jobs.
Well,
like, did you know any clubs or enterprises of kids with jobs?
Oh, no. I was the poor kid at school.
So that's why you had to earn your living with your creepy crawler business?
Yeah. It was
what did you buy with your creepy crawler money?
I don't know.
More creepy
candy, more creepy crawlers.
Creepy crawlers.
I bought goo to make the creepy crawlers. It was just
good investing in your business.
Exactly. Yeah, I had to cover my overhead.
Yeah. Same page, Bekah.
I had to buy the goo and replacement light bulbs for the oven.
Gosh,
did you
I
have
went on.
advertisements?
No.
I
had a no. I was like, it was like a drug dealer. I had a baggie full of little plastic bugs, and I would sell them. Also, have we talked about how me and my friend had a visual encyclopedia, and there was a page that was anatomy. There was one page that was male anatomy and one page that was female.
I love where this is going.
It was not a picture.
Are you charging 10 cents a gander?
Have I told you the story?
No, but it's very clear where you're going with it.
It was called the 10-cent page. We called it the 10-cent page because kids would pay us 10 cents to show them the picture of a cartoon naked woman. It was not a picture of a naked woman.
Was it less or more anatomically correct than that Wikipedia tampon image?
More, definitely more. It was color.
That was
How
color.
old were you?
Elementary school. I don't know. Like,
does your mom know about this?
Absolutely not.
I'm gonna tell her.
I'm telling her.
I'm telling Janet.
Go for
Same
it.
page again, Bekah.
Yes, Chris, we're fucking teaming up.
She'll probably just be impressed that I was an entrepreneur.
I was getting in fist fights at that age.
I was reading Babysitters Club.
I mean, I was also reading a lot, but mostly getting in fist fights with kids that were making fun of me for reading.
And like I feel like I've probably said, I got in trouble for selling creepy crawlers during class. I was not selling creepy crawlers during class. I was selling them during recess. So this fucking bitch in my class snitched on me, said that I was doing it during class. I was not.
It's fucked up.
And I had to write on the chalkboard.
What was her
You
name?
had to write
Let's
on the
look her up.
chalkboard like Bart Simpson?
Yeah, I'm
that a
old.
Where's
thing?
she at now?
I'm 37.
You're not that much older than me. I've never actually seen that.
Yeah, but
as
our
a
actual
punishment.
childhood was basically like prehistoric times.
Yeah, no, we are at that point.
What did
We're
you
on
have
the
to
cusp.
write?
I will not sell creepy crawlers during class. I had to write it like 10 or whatever times.
10's not that bad. It had to be more than 10.
It was probably like...
He had to write it however many times he could fit with as high as his arm could reach.
Okay, now I honestly don't remember if I had to write it on the chalkboard. We also had a thing called rules, and I don't know why they were called rules, but when you got in trouble, you had to go home and write, I will not sell creepy crawlers during class.
On a piece of
You just had to
paper.
write on a piece of paper. But yeah, I think it was like 50 times or something like that.
Now,
That
when
sounds
you did
Catholic.
It
that,
was enough that am 37, and I will take that shit to my grave. I will not ever forget.
That's like the Harry Potter with what's the shit? and it's carves into his hand.
It's so much less worse than the Harry Potter thing.
Yeah.
The Harry Potter thing was actual torture.
Now, when you did that, like, did
Yeah.
you get down the page and write I W W?
Oh yeah, definitely. 100%.
Yeah.
That was the best. That was the way to do it.
All right. Yep. All
And
right,
they could tell too. They would be like, "You can't do that." And I'd be like, "Fucking stop me."
How is it any
God.
different? That's what I don't know. Anyway, oh gosh, I went on. I have so much to tell you. Yesterday, I got to sit for Lucy Newton, the new baby I told you about. Really? Squealed Lane. You got to sit for her? Well, sort of. Her mother was at home, but I did watch her and her brother for 2 hours while Mrs. Newton held a meeting. And I got to hold her and give her a bottle. It was great. I can't wait until I can
squeeze her
really
and call her
babysit for
George.
her. That makes me laugh on a deep level. Oh, and you know what else? What? Remember Chocolate Johansson, the little girl who's having trouble with the kids at school? Yeah. Well, her parents had a conference with her teacher, and they decided to skip her into 3rd grade. The work in 2nd grade is too easy for Chocolate.
Now she really
And
has
her
no
classmates, and her classmates don't like her because she always does her assignments so fast and never makes any mistakes. Her teacher thinks she'll do better starting over in a new class where the kids don't know her, and the work will be more challenging. Mistake. All the way. Mistake. Chocolate seems really excited. Wrong. She's going to switch to the new class after Christmas. Well, that's good. I really wish I could meet all these people, Stace. I feel like I know them all. Just a sec. Stacy? My mom says I have to get off in 2 minutes.
Oh no! I cried. Well, wait, I'll talk fast. I went to the snowflake dance with Pete and we had a great time. I got a new dress, and for Christmas, Mom and Dad are going to give me a phone for my room just so I can call you. And I want to know exactly how many times Deirdre and Lowell have gone out and how big her boobs are, counting everything.
What's her cup size
What's her
now?
cup size? Even trips to the library. And what did you ask for Christmas?
Quadruple D.
Jesus Christ. Mom says she has to use the phone. I've got to get off. But Lane, you didn't have time to tell me anything about you. I know. Hey, you'll be the first person I call when I get my phone. Okay, great. Lane dropped her voice to a whisper. Mom doesn't know it, but I'm going to call you on Christmas Day. Okay? Terrific. Bye, Stacey. Bye. Thanks for calling me. Talk to you soon. I can't wait. Me neither. How are we going to end this?
Jesus
I don't know.
fucking
I miss
Christ.
you. I miss you too.
You hang
Now I
up
really have to
first.
go. Bye, Lane. Bye, Stacey. We hung up. A huge grin spread across my face. I had a great idea. If Lane ever came to visit me in Stony Brook, I would make her an honorary member of the Babysitters
So
Club.
she comes to visit and you're going to put her to work?
Ba, 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 ba.
There's a note from the author.
Too late.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to see it.
All right.
Did you close it?
No, I can get it back.
Get it back.
Fucking dick.
Okay.
I want to read the note from the
Here,
author.
read the
Who's
note.
going to read it?
Chris said he
Okay.
wants to read it.
Okay.
Dear reader, I hope you enjoyed reading The Truth About Stacey. Many kids have asked why I created a character with diabetes. As you may know, when I started writing the Babysitters Club, I wanted to create a group of characters who are very different from each other, who work well together. Each of the members of the BSC
That's
faces
what I
her
call it when
own
I
set
make
of
my
difficulties. I thought it would be interesting if one character faced physical or medical problems. I chose diabetes because it affects many kids and because I have 2 friends with diabetes. I also wanted to create a character who copes with their disability in a positive way. It doesn't really feel all that positive up to this point. Stacey doesn't ignore her illness. She deals with it responsibly, but she tries not to let it interfere with her life. Not long after this first book about Stacey was published, I began to hear from kids who are diabetic themselves. Many of them have written to say that the books about Stacey have helped their friends understand the illness. In fact, recently, my cat Mouse was diagnosed with diabetes, so the books have helped me too, because it's exactly the same. Happy reading, Ann M. Martin.
My cat
Which,
Mouse
like-
tells me she really identifies with this character.
My cat puts her paw on my
Oh,
hand.
there's a picture. That's what she looks like.
That's what Ann M. Martin looks like.
She was born. Oh, she was born the same year my dad was.
Well, that's nice, though. I mean, we've talked about that before, but that's nice to
Wait,
hear.
hold Hold on.
Yeah, go
About
ahead.
the author, Anne Matthews Martin was born on August 12th, 1955. She grew up in Princeton, New Jersey with her parents and her younger sister Jane. There are currently over 176 million copies of the Babysitters Club in print. That was the part that I wanted to get to.
That's
Hold
a
on.
lot.
And then in parenthetical, if you stacked all these books up, the pile would be 21,245 miles high. I mean,
but
that's
would
a
that
fucking
reach the moon?
brag, A.M. Martin. And then a bunch of other shit. She lives in upstate
A bunch
New
of other
York
shit.
with
She
her
lives in
dog
state New York with her dog and her cats. One of which is named Mouse and is diabetic.
Oh, man. That's a lot of books.
adorable.
Oh, look, there's more pictures. Wait, is that of her or is Stacey? What are these pictures?
Oh, okay. Those are pictures from the book.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I feel like
Oh,
that
so
was
that's
on
probably
the cover.
Stacey and her
That's like
parents.
a family picture of Stacey and her parents.
Okay.
They're so fucking
Oh
blonde.
my God, there's so many
There's
pictures.
more?
What? That's like that's a
Oh,
drawing.
Kindle
Yeah, that's what
usually
they are.
puts like a bunch
my
of
God.
shit
Oh my
at the
God.
end.
So yeah, I feel like these would have been throughout, like in pages or something.
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Discover the world of
It's
Newberry.
one of the
Underwood.
downsides of Kindle is that like they'll either keep shit at the beginning or put all the shit at the end, which is something that you would want to flip to easily to look at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of all these books that Anne M. Martin has written, the Babysitters Club series, the Main Street series, Belle Teal, A Corner of the Universe, Here Today, A Dog's Life, and On Christmas Eve. Which one would you guys want to read?
Belle Teal. That definitely sounds like it's about
Belle
a
Teal.
hooker or something. I don't know.
I was going to
I
go
was
Like
with...
a
gonna go
hooker in
for-
New Orleans.
A Corner of the Universe.
That's what I was going to say is A Corner of the Universe.
I would have read
I-
Belle Teal.
All right. This is
I
on
have
brand.
no interest in reading A Dog's Life because it's just going to be sad.
It's just going to be about a fucking dog. Who cares?
It's just going to be like Marley and Me or some shit like that.
Yeah. All right. We'll try and remember Belle Teal and Corner of the Universe or whatever.
My
Are you
name's
looking at
Chris
Belle
Z.
Teal?
I
Oh
have
my God,
nothing to
that's
plug.
Not at all what I thought it was gonna be like.
Oh, what is it?
Uh,
Give me the elevator pitch.
Is it a New Orleans supernatural mystery?
Is it incredibly bland?
actually, it sounds a little bit interesting. Hold on, sorry.
While she's reading, you can follow me on all the things in John Brack and just go to cactusrodeo.com. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on TikTok. TikTok.
The only thing worth following me for is on cactusrodeo.com.
Yeah.
So,
cactusrodeo.com and throw a /podcast on that bitch and find our other shows.
yeah.
There's too much
I'm
in
not-
this description to sum up.
Okay. Elevator pitch.
It's a lot to read. Belle Teal Harper lives with her mother and grandmother, a family of women, in the countryside of her small town. Belle Teal and her friend Clarice are looking forward to the start of 5th grade when they will have pretty young Miss Casey as their teacher. Belle Teal has many challenges to face. Her grandmother is having disturbing moments of confusion and lapses of memory.
Okay,
Her mother is starting secretarial school.
Okay. This sounds...
Vanessa, a new girl at school, makes cruel comments about Harper's poverty.
This sounds actively unfun.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Sorry about that Belle Teal tangent.
No, it's fine.
Well, no, they
That's a
needed
great
to know.
name.
It's a great name. It could be a good book.
It's
Because
probably-
otherwise they would have looked it up and been disappointed and we saved them that trouble.
It's true.
You're welcome.
It's true. You're welcome, everyone. Watch Pop Suck It Theater. And tune in next time for whatever we happen to read on Below Grade Level. And thanks for listening, and we love you. Bye.
Bye.
We love you and you're welcome.
Don't upstage me.
Below Grade Level is a Cactus Radio production. You can contact us at podcast@cactusrodeo.com. Subscribe and follow on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify, and follow Cactus Rodeo on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more entertainment and updates.